up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. You know what time it is, baby. 9:30 Tuesday night. And that can only mean one thing. It's time for Rebels with a Cause, because that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero, baby. And let me tell you something. You talk about motivation. My hat's off to the West High Rebels for winning five-time region champions. Doing my best Booker T impression. I know I got called by our great friend Larry Frank Jr., Rick James last week with my hairdo for Halloween. Hope everybody had a great one. I know I did. But truth be told, I wanted to do a little Booker T right there because, yes, the West Rebels went to Powell, left no and won by a score of 30-18. Of course, we got to talk about that. We're going to have a great show tonight. Lots to talk about. And as my guy, the coach, our stats guy, Shane O'Mac says, it is now time for the fourth quarter. Playoffs. This is serious business tonight. We got some serious business to discuss. First and foremost, got to get a little bit of housekeeping business. Want to let everybody know that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of West High School. This is solely the RWAC Crew, myself, the Italian Stallion, two-pair Tate, Brian Tate, and, of course, our show coach, the stats man himself, Shane O'Mac. Also, please, definitely not only hit and like and subscribe button when you watch this, whether live or recorded, but please join us on this chat box live. And please point out if we have ever inaccurately said something in error, as well as voice your opinions, baby. We love that participation. And hopefully, maybe soon, I can even get us to get a call in, telephone line that you all can call in and even discuss the games, whether it's football, basketball, at any level, high school, collegiate, or pro. We'd love to hear what you guys got to say and what you think. So we'll definitely want you to definitely, and of course, we always want to be accurate on this show. And I know I don't know all the names all the time. That's why I've got these guys to help me out as well. But for the most part, we love to just talk sports and have a great time. So let's have a great show tonight. Also, got to do a little bit of housekeeping. Want to give a shout out to my guy, Mr. Alex Thatcher, a class of 2003 grad from West High School with his Knoxville Coffee Company there in the heart of Marble City. Go pay him a visit before you go to that football game Friday night in Marble City, right there off of Sutherland Avenue. That brew is good any time of the day. Even though it's been a little warm outside, have you a cup of coffee. It'll clear that throat, you know, that drainage you have right there. Also, King's Chamber there, the gals, Kim Castle, Rachel Davis, always take care of the Italian Stallion. We'll take care of you guys as well. If you go over there and let them know that Rebels with a Cause sent you, they'll get you a discount, get you a nice tasty beverage, and hook you up with a haircut, beard trim, facials, getting massages very soon here. Also the waxes. It's a good time. Manicures and pedicures, rocking and rolling. Go check them out off of Washington Pike. They give you the royal treatment and make you feel like a true king. That being said, I want to bring on my co-host, and the chat box looks like it's hopping. Oh, there's my buddy. There's my buddy. Old Cuban is listening, James, not the Italian Stallion. Man, I love the love, man. I know that there's just something there. I'm the Neo to your Agent Smith, and I guess one day we will have that battle of who knows more about the Canes. But I hope that we get to see each other maybe January 20th in Atlanta for that national title game. I don't know. I'd be there for an embrace. Something tells me you'd sucker punch me right in the stomach. But love you, Cuban Kane. That being said, like I said, if you yeah, absolutely. We definitely have lovely battles, all in good fun. But with all due respect to anybody, please chime in. You know, we got to talk about that college football playoff, the reveal. Was your team screwed? You know, we got to talk about that too. But of course, this is playoffs. This is Rebels with a Cause. And I got to bring on my co-host. First and foremost, got to bring him on. He is a Mr. 2003 West. He is the voice of the Runnin' Rebels and Lady Rebels for 19 years coming up, and we got to talk about something cool they did in the social media department. So we'll talk about that as well as they get ready for their season. And he is now also on his long list of resume and things he's done. He's now the voice of the Pellissippi Panthers and called something like 8 games on Saturday and Sunday, something ridiculous. But he's in his element. That's what he loves to do. He's there to entertain, and I hope that you all give him the love and respect when you see him out and about, when you see him at the West High Gym for those Rowdy Rebels come this late fall and early winter. With that being said, my favorite Florida State Seminole, the one, the only, Mr. Two-Pair Tate, Brian Tate. What is up, baby?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Oh, not too much, but buddy, hey, you got something to introduce us to, and of course
Yeah,
we'll do it with Coach as well. But I'm so excited, man. I mean, what a great win Friday night, 5 straight region championships, and somebody pointed it out on social media today. That senior class has not lost a region game, has
never.
not,
They've
not.
never lost a game, and I want to give a big shout out to the seniors. Um, and Stephen Johnson Jr. said it best with business. So anytime you hear the word business, this is simply what it was.
It was
It's
business.
a business trip. And I gotta give it up to that offensive line,
Oh
the
yeah.
coaching staff, the defense, the just the preparation that was done for Powell.
Hmm.
That's a team you always see, and they prepared so well. The offensive line was just intact. And I want to say this before we do anything: is we're never going to be critical of the kids who play this game. If anything, we're critiquing and we're just giving an observation of we'll never will talk bad because
No, we love these
that
kids.
is somebody's son. Stephen Johnson Jr. is somebody's son. Deshaun Battle, I went to school with his mother. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's more of a family thing with
Yep.
us.
Parker's father was our coach at one point, back in the day. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
We're never coming from a place to ever downgrade or talk bad about the coaching staff. That if anything, we're just giving our observation. And like we say before this, is the rules and opinions. We're never ever going to be disrespectful because
Never.
I've never seen a high school team like this who's on the verge to possibly win 3 state championships, the media coverage, and the
Mm,
pressure. There's a ton of pressure on these kids,
there
and
is. There
and
is.
you know what? They kind of feed off of it.
They do. They do. And here's the thing. There's
Mhm.
one thing. Say what you will about that Halls game.
Right.
They showed cojones in an atmosphere on the road where
Yeah,
every call was going against them, and they
every
found a way to
yeah,
win. And
yeah.
here's the thing, even before that with Anderson County, they've gotten better. And this is the time of year you
They
want to be playing your best ball.
they
So,
have gotten better every week. They've gotten better, and I want to give praise to you and Shane for really laying the gauntlet down on those guys, and they have just been all about business.
they
And
have
we
been business.
that this week, when we were talking on the show, that the 5-time champs handle business, and anytime we say the word business, we're putting on our sunglasses
Yes, we
and
are.
know, like, they are handling business and they mean it. And
Mm.
I really think that home crowd with the noise, and I just got to say, how good has the quarterback play been these last 4 games?
It's
Like,
been very good.
it's been
Very.
very, you know, and the thing is, he blocks out the noise. He can fix
Hmm.
turnovers. He's,
Hmm.
he's a leader.
He
That is
is.
the definition of a leader. He doesn't get rattled. Like
Mm.
the maturation of Dubon Ren, Ray, the offensive line, that defensive line, dudes like Sam Lavelle are coming up making plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Riley, how good is Riley May?
Absolutely. The
On like
physicality. I'll give you a name.
it's Jack Keith.
I'll give you a name right now that,
That
he came in late. He came in late. He had to build a chemistry. How big was Detroit Patterson Friday night, man, with those catches and sealed the deal with that touchdown catch? I mean, it takes a while to develop chemistry when you come in late. But now they know each other. He knows the playbook. That there's things that are happening there that now this offense is becoming the well-oiled machine we knew it was going to be. The depth you have at the different skill positions. And I'm also noticing something. Camaraderie that really made last year's team very special. I see it. I see it with the
I
senior
see
class. They had that senior meeting between
they
the Alcoa Anderson County game, and they look like they're ready to do this thing. So,
you know what?
yes, and will.
Anderson County, when I interviewed Cam Leggett, the underclassmen want to do it for these
They
seniors.
do. They do.
The underclassmen want to do it for these seniors. And then when you got seniors like James Mills, who, there's been some times where I felt like he should have got the ball more because he's got the he is a matchup nightmare. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Mills is a matchup nightmare. Corey Person, Patterson, those guys are like matchup nightmares. And
Hmm.
the only thing that I wish is there's so much talent. There's not enough balls to get
That's the problem.
to those guys. Like,
Yep.
and for a guy like James Mills who made a big, like, that's a big play that
Oh my
changed.
God. It extended the drive. I mean, because if he doesn't make that catch, coach has a decision to make. Do you go for it and roll the dice, or do you play field position? He makes the catch that extends the drive. And here's the other thing, too, Pair. One of the biggest stats from the game Friday night, except for the first possession that was still an actual decent drive, West never punted after that. And Bolig had a heck of a kick that pinned him deep. So
Mhm.
my point of that is that West scored on all their possessions after that first drive, either a field goal or a touchdown. And that's how you win ball games. Points, baby.
It is.
And it was
Gotta
that magical 30 number again. If they score 30, they
go.
are a lock to win.
It's
And
a
that is a huge, huge deal right there, honestly.
yeah,
So, yeah.
30 points. You can pretty much chalk it up. And that's one thing I will say. And as far as the way those linebackers have been playing, like I'm gonna say it like this, guys. Y'all have been playing lights out. After that Anderson County game has been the turning point of our season.
And they're going up against some unbelievable running backs, and they're going to face some this in these playoffs, as they progress and so forth. So, but I'm going to take these glasses off for right now because we got our other guy that needs to come on. I know he's got a lot to say as always, but got to give him his proper introduction. Uh, he has been nicknamed by our own Parker Dubon as the coach. He first started as our stats guy and still does a good job giving us that information when we need it. And also, he is a wonderful father, hardworking guy, and definitely, if you need an electrician, I'm sure he'll give his information out, and that way we can get it out to you if you need some help right now. So he's trying to make some money on the side, but got to bring him on. Our fellow West High grad, class of 2003, Mr. Shane O'Mac, the coach. What's up,
What's
buddy?
up,
How you
fellas? What's up?
doing?
Doing good, doing good. All right. So first and foremost, I want to say if I was too hard or too critical last week, I apologize. I let some of my language slip out there, but I will say this: the boys came out and played their asses off. I wasn't able to watch the game. But I listened to the game the whole way through, and that's my kids. I was jumping up, celebrating, screaming the whole time. So, boys, I'm proud of you all. Excuse me, young men, I'm proud of you all. Coaching staff, proud of y'all. Carry it to them next week
Davy Crockett.
against Davy Crockett.
Yep.
Go beat them down. Then let's go take on the next one. Take on the next one. Take on the next one. But hey, boys, I'm proud of y'all. Y'all came out there. You played West football. Do your thing. Sorry if I got a little too critical. That's just the coach in me. That's just how I am. I want to apologize for if I said a little too much. But boys, y'all did your thing this past week, and I'm super impressed the way y'all played Rebel football.
Yeah, and to go off of that, I mean, I apologize too. I just know that I know what you all have been capable of. I saw it in the spring. I've seen glimpses in scrimmages. I've seen glimpses in the games. But you want to know something? Guess what? It's like you said, Shane. It is now the fourth quarter. It is playoff time. And guess what? You've got your seeds, you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, whoever throughout the state, the 4 quads, the different classifications. But right now, you know what everybody's record is right now? 0
Yeah, oh
and
no,
0.
oh no.
It's 0 and 0. So now it is time to show what we're all about, So
It's time
yeah,
to go
go ahead.
6-0. It's time to go 6-0 right here.
Yeah, 5 and 0.
6-0.
It takes 5
5
games
0
to do
5 0
it. 5 and 0.
5 0. My bad.
But I did want to say this much, by the way. I do have something very interesting that I want to bring up and want your all's thoughts right away on it. So last week, we brought up the fact that Powell was the number 2 team in the state behind Page with their 8-1 record. Their one loss being to Anderson County at the beginning of the year. Much love to 332 Studios, best sports show about high school sports. Thank you, 332 Studios. That means the world.
Yeah, Davey, I'm the co-founder of that.
Absolutely, and we're coming up on a year. After Christmas, we'll be a year. And so I'm excited to have that celebration. So, but I did want to say this. So last week, Powell was the number 2 team. West was number 9 going into that the final week of the season. Everybody picked Powell. Shane, you picked Powell. Two pair, I think you and me picked West close by a 3-point margin, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, but for the most
go
part,
ahead. Give me. I don't want us to slice the humble pie. Give me the whole pie. Give me the whole
no,
thing.
you predicted 35-10. Powell over West, and it was almost closer to the other way of that going with West.
Yeah, it was
30-18. But that being said, what I do want to say is this. Excuse me. The pollsters. Oh, and let's just be real. The News Sentinel, Toyloy Brown is not there anymore. I don't even know who's taken over for high school preps football, but somebody's covering it over there at the News Sentinel. They picked Powell. Jesse Smithy and 5-Star Preps picked Powell. Everybody picked Powell.
Everybody picked Powell.
I mean, you and me picked West, and everybody could say we were homers or whatever, but I just was waiting for it.
Homer every show. But
absolutely. Absolutely. So, and
I didn't want to pick Powell. I looked at how we had played. I looked at how Powell played,
right.
And the boys answered the call. They made me eat what I said. I will take it all day. I love my school.
Yeah,
I support y'all through and through.
Well, and I want to say this real quick. I do want to say this about that. I want to talk about how certain teams get up for other teams. And so keep that in mind, Shane, because there's a reason why I could see why you would feel that way. But to finish my thought about this, so West wins this game 30-18, region champs 5 years in a row. This is how much the pollsters of West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and East Tennessee went into the real thinking. And it's just polls, guys. It's polls, but it's something for us to talk about. But how in the hell are you going to put West at 8? That win over the number 2 team on the state on the road by a two-score margin only moves you up to 8, and they still have Powell ranked ahead of you with an 8-2 record. They're just looking at this. They're looking at records. They ain't looking. Look who West has lost to. The number 1 team in 3A, like the number 3rd ranked team in 6A, who is probably going to go on a big run. It'll probably be either them, Oakland, or Ravenwood that wins 6A. A Bearden team who's playing very well at the end of the year that could also make some noise in the 6A playoffs. They start theirs tomorrow night on Thursday night, and I want to talk about that too. But the point of the matter is that the final 5A poll has Page at number 1. They're 10-0, have only allowed 13 points all year, but may I say that it's been against the 65th toughest schedule. I still give them props because you play who you play, but for goodness sakes, man, two teams on that schedule have a 6-4 record, and they made mincemeat out of them. I'm going to be interested to see how they do in the playoffs against some of these other teams. Sevier
Yeah.
County's number 2, 10-0. Beach is 9-1. At number 3, Southwind is number 4 at 9-1. Munford out of Memphis is number 5 at 9-1. Powell, who I mentioned already, is number 6 at 8-2. Shelbyville is number 7 at 9-1. The defending back-to-back champs are number 8, West at 7-3. East Hamilton, number 9 at 7-3, and number 10, Tennessee High, 8-2, who goes to Powell, rounds out the top 10 of the 5A poll. So
That's gonna be a good game. That's gonna be a good game right there.
let me tell you something. Don't sell Tennessee High short against Powell. And this is what I wanted to talk about. Powell had dominated a lot of the same teams that West had played. But my question is this: why is it? And two pair, I'd love for you to chime this in because this can go in any type of level of sport, professional, collegiate, amateur, athletics, high school, you name it. Why is it that the teams get up for West and we're the Super Bowl and they don't do that for Powell? And now granted, yes, we are the fresher champs, but Powell was a state champion just 3 years ago, and they have really made some appearances as well in other state championship games where they came up short. So my question is, why is it that everybody just kind of, for a lack of a better word, lays down for them, and yet, with West, we get everybody Super Bowl?
We get everybody Super Bowl because we're the undefeated champions. We're not expected to. West was not the school ever expected to compete. Like, yeah, we've had great players, we've had great coaches. Sometimes we didn't have all the guys that should have been playing play. You know what I mean? Just because one regime wanted to be over here and another regime wanted to be over there, and it never was a unified forefront like the way they are one West now. And with Powell being ranked ahead of us, just like Stephen Johnson said, it's very disrespectful. But everybody gears up for us because we weren't supposed to do this. This started in that youth program with Terry Maples. This started a long time ago. You know what I mean? Those kids saw what the Nathan Cottrells, the Noah Hoxies, they saw that. And they became that. You know what I mean? And I just really think we are everybody's Super Bowl now because we weren't never expected to be as dominant as we are. Now, I will say if we put together the football game we played against Powell, if we can play with that same level of consistency like we showed against Halls, like we showed against Anderson County, who's to say they're not going to be playing in Chattanooga?
Absolutely. Shane, what's your thoughts on that? Why is it that is it the championships? Is it? I mean, here's the thing. Everybody's been talking about Powell this year. We've been hearing about Powell since even over the summer with 5-star preps, and think about this too. They had been pointing to that game against us even before they even took the field against Anderson County, another rival of theirs. But other teams just seem to lay down against some opponents, but we get everybody's best shot. Your thoughts on it?
Well, one, it's because hold on, there we go. Sorry, my phone did something stupid. Okay, so one, I think is we are the defending state. We're back-to-back defending state champs in the region. You expect a drop off, so that's why they're like, oh, Powell's rebuilding. Is bringing studs in. They're going to compete. You're gonna get. It's just like when we all play. Like we knew what Maryville and Alcoa. Well, I'll take that back. Alcoa wasn't who they are now when we played them. Because that my senior class beat Alcoa before they went on that long ass run. But when you're back to back champs, like we always gave Maryville everything we had. We knew it was going to be a beatdown, but that game was always good to us. Like you had that, like I'm going to go out here. I'm going to play with every ounce I have to try to take this team down, and that's what you gain from all these other teams now when it comes to playing West is because we've got we've got 3 trophies at the school, 2 back to back. Try to go for a third one. You're going to get everybody's top game. I mean, even me as a coach, like I talk to my players, hey, like this team's done this. I remember when I was at Bearden and we played Alcoa for the first time. Alcoa hadn't lost a game in 6 years at our age level. They didn't lose. Nobody wanted to play them. They got everything we had the first game, and we lost by one, 14-13. Came back and played them again in the championship. Gave them everything we had. Won on a field goal and a touchdown in the end zone. I still tell you exactly where it was. Left, if you're looking downfield, going towards the school, left corner of the end zone, right there in the front on a slant route, right there. Perfect catch. But you got everything you have from those. You gave that team everything you had because they're where you want to be. If you can beat a team that's won championships or has been undefeated and is ran the gauntlet, that shows where you are. So you're going to get everybody's best game because if you can compete with a team like West, you can compete with anybody else in your area. So that's what it is. And West came out last week and showed who they are. I am still proud, super proud of the boys where they played. But you're going to get everybody's best game because you have that target on your back. And there's bulletin board material. We talk all the time. We say how we feel. That's bulletin board material. Coaches listen, players listen. Everybody knows we got this. This is who they are. And we want you to play to the best of your ability. And you know you're going to get everybody's A game. So you bring your A game, which is better than everybody else's when you bring it.
Absolutely. Two pair, I can say this. I'm happy that for once it helped us and not the other team, because that was the running joke with basketball, that the basketball teams were enjoying beating us with all the stuff we talked about back in January and February. So I'm glad for once it worked for us this time or whatever. But,
It did.
but yeah. So
Because I will say we with the media coverage that this team gets, like Rebels with a cause, 5-star preps,
prep
rival
extra. Yeah. Rivalry Thursday. Yeah.
rivalry Thursday. This team is a covered team.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many eyes on these guys to where they're trying to walk that fine line and just stay locked in, and they're doing it. Like they are really locked in, and like I said, they're all about handling business, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's all about the business. So
It's
yeah,
all about
for sure.
business.
So yeah,
Like
absolutely, it's about business. So
it's about the business.
yeah.
Like,
Well, and listen, here's the thing. I got some business to talk to you guys about. So let's talk about the tail of the tape. Okay, I'll go back to Weston Powell, but I want to start talking a little bit about these playoffs and so forth. Oh, by the way, one more thing that I want to give a shout out to: the last five West teams. Actually, six if we really want to go a little bit. West has now not lost a 5A regular season game in 1,846 days. It was October 18th, 2019. So that streak will not be touched until next fall. So stay
dang,
tuned. Just
dang.
wanted to throw that out there. So
How many days?
1,846 days. That's like Bruno Sammartino being the champion for that many years for WWE. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah. So I just want to throw that out there. So, and that streak will be
So
even longer next August whenever we play our first 5A game
everybody's
in the
so
regular season.
on those guys because they're doing impossible. Like they are just it. If there was a ceiling, they go through it every time.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. So
And
I had to throw that out there. I mean, my salute. So, yeah.
you said something on your live Friday, and I thought it was poignant. You said we're kind of spoiled. I think we are spoiled.
No, we are. Oh, we
As-
are. Absolutely.
Like,
We're spoiled.
you know what? As a fan base, as people that went to the school, as alumni, we're spoiled. These
Hmm.
kids, these kids have given grown men an opportunity to have a media-based show discussing how incredible they are on the football field, the basketball court, the soccer,
The baseball
softball,
diamond. So, yeah. Yeah.
volleyball, tennis,
Yes.
golf.
Yep.
We were that school. Now we're just the school that's great in all those. And
All of them. All of them. And here's the truth of it. I want you all to here's some more numbers for you guys, okay?
Let's get the numbers. Let's go into numbers.
West, this is going to be West's 22nd appearance in the football playoffs in school history. Before, realistically, Coach Cummings got there, we maybe made the playoffs 3 times, to be honest with you. Okay? These are real numbers. These are real numbers. But this is our 22nd appearance in school history. Our overall record in the playoffs is 43 wins, 18 losses. Why was Friday night so big to beat Powell at Powell and get at least a potential of 3 home games to host in the playoffs? Is because West in Marble City is 30-3 at home. In the entire playoffs that we've done, we've only lost 3 times at home. On the road, it's a little bit of a different story. 10-14. But a couple of those games were against those badass Maryville teams where your season kind of ended in the second round when you had to play Maryville or Central back
Yeah.
then.
So,
Okay.
I mean, Maryville's had that.
Neutral territory, you're 3-1 with 3 gold balls, baby. And that's in Cookeville and Chattanooga. So mic drop right there.
Yeah.
But here's something that's even more interesting. Davy Crockett comes to town this Friday night from Jonesboro, Tennessee, the 2-hour drive down I-81. West in round 1, all time, is 17-3, but we have never lost at home in the first round. We are undefeated. And in our series history against Davy Crockett, we are 3-0. We beat them in the first round in 2013, 60-0. In the second round in 2021, we won 42-13. And in 2022, in the first round, we won 56-7 en route to our second state championship as a school. That was the 22 team with Braden Latham and all those guys, Carson Jesse. So Davy Crockett comes to town Friday night, and it's going to be round 1 of the fourth quarter, as I like to call it. And we're 0-0, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we do. Davy Crockett's record at the moment, according to the TSSAA playoffs, is 4-5. They had a game that was canceled due to the hurricane that they never made up. So they've only really played 9 ball games this year and finished 4th in Region 1 behind Sevier County, Morristown West, and Tennessee High, respectively. So, Two-Pair, your thoughts with a matchup with Davy Crockett, a familiar opponent that you've seen the last couple of years in the playoffs, and seems that we always meet early when we play them, and it always seems to be played at West. We've never had to go up to Jonesboro to play them.
Yeah, if we can control the ball just the way we're capable of doing, I think we need to, get back to those long, sustainable drives. And Tavion Ray and Messiah Wren, that thunder lightning combination is just lethal. Because with Burdine, you're probably using Burdine more on defense because you might as well not even try to throw the Burdine side. Don't it's Burdine.
It's lockdown time.
It's
So yeah,
pretty locked down.
yeah.
And I think with Davy Crockett, what I watch out for with him is we got to watch out for those methodical drives that they like to put on. Because there can be some opportunities in the game where you're going to see Davy Crockett try to, get guys on the perimeter, get guys out on the perimeter in space. So we got to watch out for that. And I think our defense has just been playing great. Like,
yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, is just getting off on third down. Don't extend drives with penalties or just get off the field. That's the main thing. And then the offense. I mean, the way they controlled the time of possession against Powell, they do that against every team. You can forget it. Simple as that. I mean, that's the name of the game. The offensive line, if they play like they've been playing these last few weeks, opening up the holes, I mean, there should be some big plays and big runs. And I'll tell you another name that I'm hoping, again, you talk about the talent level. on, there's only so many balls to go around. It was nice to see Pork Chop and Tyrius McAllister get a handoff. First time since early in the season, and man, he made that guy who tackled him feel it. But you have him on the defensive side of the ball, like you've got guys like Abel Ancelot that can be on both sides of the ball. The thing is that it's a good problem to have, and
It is.
if I may say so myself, I'm excited of the fact of how healthy we are going into these playoffs. It's a long season. There's been a lot of physical games. And listen, I know guys are bruised up and playing through it, but my goodness, like I really like where we're at right now going into these playoffs. And I feel really, really good about Friday night at home. And it's going to be so nice to be there. Marble City, where we belong, hosting these playoff games, and with the opportunity to have at least 3 at home, I mean, you control your destiny. What's your thoughts, Shane, on that?
Hey, given the record we've had at home, it's on you all. Like this should be easy for us. I'm actually pulling up Davy Crockett's record right now, see how we should fare against them. Let's see. Given teams they played, they are only 1, 2, 3. Oh,
Got
sorry.
some background music right there. So
Building up the suspense. Okay, so David Crockett is on a 4-game losing streak
okay,
right now.
Really?
Yep, they lost to Tennessee, Mo West,
region game.
DB, and Sevier County.
Wow. So 3 region games, and then playing DB just because they're all in that area up there in Northeast Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, these boys look like they've been beat up, and we should go there and handle business. Like, hey, I want to see a 40-piece dropped on them. Maybe let them get about 7 points.
He said business, so I'm putting the glasses on. He did business, business, baby. So it's business.
Business time.
I mean, yeah, you just got to handle business, man.
Yeah. And I think they want to
do what you did last week, and do that for the next 5 games.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are the scores that David Crockett has given up over the last 4 weeks. Let's go back to October 11th. 55-20, they lost to Tennessee. Well, they lost 35-7 to Mo West.
Okay.
41-7 to Dobbins Bennett, and 48-7 to Sevier County. You are just as good or better than all these teams,
dude. So
go do your thing.
The last 2 games combined for 14 points.
Yeah.
Last 3 games y'all combined for 21.
Yeah.
Last 3 games
last 3 games, 21 points total.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too. It's funny you mentioned Tennessee and Morristown West, because obviously they're going to be playing Powell and Halls respectively. Morristown West hosts Halls because they're the 2 seed. Tennessee has to travel to Powell in the first round, being the 3 seed. I'm going to tell you this. I think that Tennessee just had a bad game against Morristown West. I really feel that Tennessee High was a better team and maybe let one slip against Morristown West based on that score against Davy Crockett, because it seems Crockett played Morristown West better than they did Tennessee High or what have you. It seems like.
So here's their region games that they won.
Yeah.
Daniel Boone, 35-7. Cocke County, 41-38. Lost to Tennessee 55-20, and lost to Mo West 35-7. I mean,
and then they lost to Sevier County.
Sevier County 48-7. So, I mean, they got in due to the beginning of their schedule, and see, they are they're number 4 seed of Region 1. I mean, you got in because of who you beat, but
yeah.
I'm not saying this is going to be a cakewalk, because any given Friday, you turn on those lights, everything can happen. But boys, y'all know what to do. Hey, Rebel football, run down their throats. Uh, Parker, get that arm going, hit your receivers. Let's have a field day out there, boys. Let's have a field day, build some momentum.
Because here's the thing: we do respect our opponent, right? We respect him. Like the Carrier kid, he's got 4 picks this year, and he's a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
Like David Crockett's got some guys on his team that can make plays. It's just the last few games when you look at them in totality, it just hasn't been to where they've been able to score points. That's where I think our defense, we have a chance to put um, a pressure on those guys. If they can get to that quarterback, and just cause some things to go bad to where he's not completing those passes to Dunn, because Dunn is probably the guy that's gonna be getting the ball the most, and their running back Hall as well. Like those two guys, and when I look at them, they're ranked 198 in Tennessee, but in the Division 5A, they're 36, and in the Tri Cities are 15.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. I think the thing that's going to be the difference, and it showed last Friday. Look at West's schedule that prepared them for that game against Powell. And maybe, you look at Powell's strength of schedule, other than Anderson County, there really weren't many teams on Oak Ridge isn't the Oak Ridge that they're used to. I think that Farragut would probably give them a way better game now than they did at the beginning of the year because Farragut had Maryville down last week 21-0 at the half. I mean,
I'll
Maryville
give
came back to win, but Farragut's playing some good ball. And I'm going to tell you this, I'm willing to bet that Farragut goes up to Dobbins Bennett and beats them and upsets the number 1 seed Dobbins Bennett in round 1. That's a dangerous 4 seed Farragut right now, the way they're
how
playing.
good
So
All right,
Barry.
I, I was running the numbers real quick. Um, we need to slow down our rush. We need to slow down our running game.
mhm.
Um, between their three main running backs, you got a sophomore, you got their quarterback who likes to run around, who's also their outside linebacker.
God, so they go
Or
both ways. Goodness gracious.
yeah,
Okay.
well, I'm not sure if he's the starting quarterback. Let me look real quick.
He probably is. I mean, shoot, Walker Valley last year, their quarterback was also their starting free safety and everything, and he was like their whole team.
Yeah, so their quarterback is a sophomore, leading the team with 10 touchdown passes, but he's also rushing for 64.6 yards a game. You're looking at 171.2 rushing yards a game between the running back, quarterback, or two running backs and their quarterback, and you're looking at 133 yards through the air spy that quarterback, limit his rushing, uh, fill gaps with their main guy who's getting about 75 yards a game. But you got to shut down that passing game. So DBs, you're gonna be in for it on Friday night. You're going to limit number one, or I'm not sure what number he is. My bad. But
I know.
Lamarcus Dunn is getting 83.5 yards a game. Senior wide receiver. You're going to shut him down. Just watch the middle. Let's keep him from doing anything. But you also got to keep containment on that quarterback and make sure he doesn't use his legs.
Can I give a shout out to Jordan Hayes, by the way, who's been playing some phenomenal football? Number 14 for West, lockdown DB. I mean, him, Mannon, Burdine, and Pork Chop, man, they are really
Yeah.
doing their thing. And like you mentioned, the linebackers, JPP, Davis Neely. Sam Lavelle, Jack Keith, and let me tell you this: shout out to Trey Bewley, who even got in there a few plays and handled business when he was out there. I mean, we've got it's a good problem to have. Defensive line, it speaks for itself. Sam Hudson, man, he played like a man
Man,
child Friday night. He was all over the field, even blocked a kick, man. He blocked the extra point that actually got it started, and really that extra point put Powell behind the 8 ball, talking about that. So I want to give a shout out to number 97, Sam Hudson. You know what you were going to get with DeRoche and Cam Leggett. Even a shout out to Nalaja Dickey out there
like
as well. So yeah,
when, when you get Lanaj, Nalon,
Nalaja Dickey.
you get Cam Leggett and DeRoche, when they're hitting on all cylinders,
Yep.
they are a disruptive bunch of madmen.
Mm-hmm.
And time that they have the inside leverage, you might as well say it's good night, Eileen.
I like that. And now I'm thinking about that 80s song, Come On, Eileen.
I agree. Like watching that defensive line, that's why I say the linebackers have been playing so well because the defensive pressure, it just allows those linebackers to slip some of those blockers and make plays. Because
Mhm.
I look at a guy like Sam Lavelle, who I've seen the past year, and I just watched like him on getting to the outside pressure or just making plays.
Mhm.
Like all these kids just want to make plays. And that's what I love about it because they handle business. And like Steven Johnson said, it was a business trip. And anything that comes to 3300 Southern Avenue, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to leave.
You want to know something that's really kind of funny? Powell a few years ago really talked some mad trash to the team that ultimately we went 15-0 and everything. They made the joke that 3300 Sutherland Avenues were all dreams or title hopes end or whatever. And, in a way, Powell was the one that gave West that little bit of a mantra that no, your dream ends at 3300, not our dream. You know what I mean? So we almost should send them flowers and a fruit basket for Christmas because ever since they've made that comment, West has handled business at home. Look at that record. And let me tell you this, the one thing we haven't even talked about yet is we mentioned Burdine on the defensive side of the ball. How amazing was Burdine on the special teams? He had an 87-yard kickoff return that set you up with a short field that you scored on, and then the punt return that sets you up down there deep that also you scored on. So he has been fantastic on the special teams. I mentioned Sam Hudson with the blocked kick on the extra point. The special teams have been probably your most consistent unit and has won you ball games flat out. And if that continues, and now that the offense is clicking and the defense is doing their thing, when all three phases are doing it, my goodness, this team is going to be tough to stop. And this is the right time to be doing it in this fourth quarter, the playoffs.
They're gonna be a tough out. Like I really think they are laser focused in when they see those numbers, when they go into those games, and they have been executing. And the coaches have just said, you know what, we're just gonna put these guys in better position. Like these coaches get better day by day.
Yep.
And nobody's gonna be perfect.
Can I tell you this? Can I
Nobody
also mention this?
they've been perfect. They've been at the mountaintop being perfect, but they're getting better every single time. Like we look at those games and we say, well, we stayed on the field longer here. We convert this third down. We do it. It's like now they've put all the pieces to it, and they've been on the road. When's the last time West lost?
In terms of what? In terms of what, bud? Like if you're
But
talking, our last loss was Alcoa.
Al,
Alcoa this season. But if you're
what
talking about,
what date was that Alcoa game on?
if I'm not mistaken, that was the first week of October, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to
Give me
say that
one
was the
second,
first.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I think it was first week of October. Can I say this real quick? I have a friend. He's a Powell grad, big Powell follower. He basically, him and me, we don't talk during West Powell week, no matter if we play him in the regular season or in the playoffs. But you know what he told me after the game? He said, the players are the players, but he said, top to bottom, your coaching staff is better than ours. He said that to me. He said that to me. He said that I've watched enough of these games these last 5 years. And the one thing that I can say is maybe we won the games because we had a Walter Nolan or we had someone like that, like Aiden Green. But at the end of the day, your coaching staff outcoaches ours. And that was painful for him because he went to school with the head guy. So they're friends. And so I took that as, wow, okay. Well, and I've said it all year. I love the coaching staff, not just because I'm on staff as support staff, but the fact is I've watched those guys. They like each other. And two pair, what did you say? The younger guys want to win for the seniors as well and so forth. That's a program. That is why they're in
Yeah.
the position that they're in right now. So
That's it, really. Those guys really want to win for those years, man. Like they really want to win.
yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they have they have been there. Like they know what it's like, and they want to win it for those. And that's why that underclassmen room is really trying to do it for seniors. And these seniors have been playing like out, man.
Ever
I'm
since that senior
I'm
meeting, man, that
excited.
senior meeting, baby, I'm telling you.
I'm excited to see the group of freshmen coming in because I've had to go up against them this year, and those boys are big and they
Oh
are
yeah,
fast.
they're going to keep rolling. And you want to know something? Can I just say this? I know stuff happens. That maybe you move away, maybe you have an interest in another sport, and but the truth of the matter is, why would you not want to be a part of this team? I mean, if you don't conform with the culture and maybe you're a problem, that's a different story. But I implore you guys that are on this team, don't quit. Be a part of this. Anything to be on that team and be around your brothers. That's something that it's not forever, guys. Because you wake up and you're 40 like us, and we only get to see each other once a week on this show. All are going to go on your paths and everything, and your cause, like I say. But I'm not trying to preach, but what I'm saying is enjoy this moment, enjoy the ride, because for you seniors, look, your regular season is done and now it is the playoffs. And you know I just want you guys to enjoy the moment, enjoy every practice, because I miss it. I miss it, and that's why I love being around this stuff. And I want to give a shout out real quick to Paige and Andrew for 94.3 Jack FM. They do the radio every week that covers West. They had me on as a guest at halftime, which I was honored, and gave
So
them so many stats. So if you haven't listened to it, the game's up on the radio now for replay. Go to the halftime show. You can listen to Old Stallion talk about the past and
I was
everything like that. So yeah,
in
but
the chat.
Yeah, I hate that I missed that because I was listening to it on
the 99.1,
Sports
the
Internet.
Sports Animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and look at that, Shane. How many times have we been on Sports Animal this year? Goodness gracious. I mean, we've been
Ooh.
on TV, we've been on Sports Animal. I mean, come on. And speaking of TV, can
Uh,
I ask this question?
sure.
And I mean this with no disrespect, because I actually thanked Mark Packer at Waffle House after the Anderson County game for giving us two games to be on, and they were probably the two most exciting games. There were a lot of exciting games, but
Yeah,
the Bearden game, triple overtime, West Anderson County spoke for itself. But
yeah.
the fact that he's giving exposure to these teams and having a playoff Thursday, I mean, I get being on there, but why would you cheat yourself one day earlier to get the game on a Thursday just to be on TV instead of Friday? Maybe that extra day of preparation is needed. I'm just trying to think out loud. How would both teams agree to that when realistically it's supposed to be Friday night, baby? So,
Well, unless they're
Hold
getting a monetary donation, I don't know.
on. Is Davy Crockett not Friday? It's Thursday.
No, it is Friday, but you see, Morristown West and Bearden is on tomorrow night. I don't know who they. I think they have DB and Farragut Friday night as the game. But I guess, why did Bearden and Morristown West move that game is what I'm trying to get at more than anything. So I mean, because that's one less day of preparation that you have just to play on a Thursday night. On the flip side, if you win, you do have an extra day to prepare for the following week. So there's that too. But I was just kind of just curious your thoughts on that. I was just kind of curious or
That's
whatever.
very,
So yeah,
I wouldn't think that they would do Thursday. Well, being with the playoffs because that's short. That's a short time frame though.
yeah,
If you played Friday, like that's kind of it's a quick turnaround.
it is. It is a quick turnaround. So that's what I was just thinking. So
I mean, one day early. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. For sure, for sure. Well, and I wanted to add, I wanted two pair to give you the floor while Shane takes a minute and so forth like that. Let's talk about that social media little short that was made by both the boys and girls basketball team. It got me excited, man. Coach Graves and Coach E. I mean, it looked like something professional, like how like Tennessee gets everybody excited. I mean, that was pretty cool. I don't know who did it, but props, honestly.
Yeah, that was pretty dope, man. I really like what Coach Graves and Coach E are doing with these teams, man. They look very good. As you know, the summer those boys went undefeated. They went 18-0.
I heard that. I heard that. So, yo.
Yeah.
So this
So,
is business. This is business, is what you're telling me. So,
well, I mean, I'm sorry,
yeah,
yeah,
business. So,
it's business. And you know, before we get before we get into that news, um, I posted a question on Facebook about um the best eras, all KIL era, the prep era, or the 5-star preps era.
yeah.
We were probably we're kind of split because
We're that KIL
We're
prep
KIL.
extra.
That's how I'd consider it. So, yeah.
we're the KIL era because the prep extra era we kind of
Was right when we left. Was right when we
Yeah.
left, pretty much. So, yeah.
prep extra was like maybe 2 years. Um, well, if you're like 2002, 2003, prep extra and KIL kind of like coincide.
Yeah. And then Prep Extra went all the way till I'd say about 2015. And that's when Jesse kind of separated from that and went to 5-star preps.
Yeah,
So that's,
so
yes. Yeah.
the 5-star prep era, and it's crazy enough. Tonight at the Mississippi State game, I saw a former Fulton Falcon, Tylen Gibson, and I just remember how great he was on the football field, basketball field, or playing baseball. And I definitely want to try to get this panel, but what I was wanting to do is it would be the panel from it'd be a lot of other guys from school. Have a Hall's representative, a Powell representative, an Austin East representative, an Alcoa representative. Just have all those, what I'm saying, on this big panel. I think that'd be really cool to do. And just looking at the way this basketball team is, it made me pose that question. Is this the team that can finally do it on the basketball level at West for the men's side, the women's side? I really think you're going to see a different team with the way this team will be coached. I think Cody is a very underrated coach. Like
Mhm.
what he's done in the middle school ranks, the AAU ranks, the best out of the player. So who wouldn't want to play for Cody Graves? I
Well,
really it's
eh,
going to be.
well, can I say this? Here's the thing: they win one game. That's one more than they won the entire season last year. So that's step one. Step two: they didn't have no hype video last year. I mean, this has and I'm happy those girls who wherever was on the team last year that's back this year, you know, they went through hell last year. So I'm hoping that they have fun and they look like they had fun making the video and so forth. So did the boys. Boys were slam dunking it. I mean, it was really, really professionally cool. And my props to whoever was behind that, honestly, because they deserve that, and I can't wait to catch the games at the gym this year. I really can't. I mean, I'm excited as hell about it, but I wanted to talk about it because their season's coming up, their jamboree's coming up, and this month is going to be so insane between the playoffs, between the fact that you have basketball starting. Also, the TSSAA is going to announce the pairings of how everybody's region is going to be, the alignment this month as well. So it's going to be a lot of exciting stuff that you'll have to stick around. And you know that this show will definitely bring it to your attention and cover it like we always do. Speaking of also the other area teams that we've not only faced, But not only have we faced, but we've also covered. We predict their games as well. A lot of teams from this area made the playoffs, and a lot of props. I'll give one right away to Central High School getting back to the playoffs in Kevin Lane's first year. Fulton getting there with their guy. Austin East made it. So, shout out to Stanton that he won those last two games at the end of the year. They started out a little tough, but Stanton got the couple wins they needed, and they're in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to go far, but that's what they had to do to get there. And so, props to those first year coaches, because you got to start somewhere. And when you get to the playoffs, that's a win to build those programs up. Simple as that. So, but I mean, first and foremost, Shane, I know we joked about it in March that the men's NCAA tournament was the UConn Invitational.
Yep.
Stay as long as you want, and it ultimately ended up being that way as they went to back to back. But here's my question: can anybody in 3A give Alcoa? Is this the Alcoa Invitational? This 3A tournament?
Yeah, it's what it's been for they've got
9 years. So this
years
will be 10
straight.
straight. And this is their swan song as they move up to 4A next year too. So of course they want to put the cherry on the top, a decade of dominance. So.
Yeah, that's what I was about to call. This has been Alcoa's decade of dominance, unlike Tennessee's decade of dysfunction that we went through.
Yeah. And this is, and let me tell you something. This is a solid Alcoa team. I mean, we went toe to toe with them. We lost. I think it was 28-10 was the final, but we held our own. Their only loss is to Ravenwood, who's the number 1 team in 6A. I mean, and they beat the number 3 team in Maryville. So my thing is, this is a damn good Alcoa team. So whoever
that Alcoa team played 2 games that week.
Yeah, and they had to make up that game, and they won. So yeah, so my thing is just that they are just amazing. They really are. So.
They are the two Eli's.
Yeah,
like and Dean. I mean, they got athletes all across.
Condis Cherry, he came late, but now he's contributing on that team. I mean, because he had to learn the playbook and everything. But they're doing their thing over there. And I mean, I saw Upperman over there from Memphis probably might get there to play them at that championship game. I don't know if it's going to be. The last couple of years they beat up on Nashville Christian. I don't think Nashville Christian's had a good year this year, so it might be Upperman from the other side. But I was just kind of peeking around, and there's a reason why their game is going to be featured on the ABC channel and not the Knox channel when they get to the state championship game, so that can be seen by everybody at 11 o'clock on Friday morning. So yeah. So that's 3A. Now 4A. A couple of the matchups. If Shane, if you can pull up the 4A from the TSSAA.
My computer is loading right now.
Is it okay? On my phone, so let me tell you guys this right off the bat. Some games that are happening there. And I want to pull it up more than anything real quick.
I got the 5A.
Yeah, we got the 5A, and we're going to focus on that one. But in terms of the 4A, obviously Anderson County is going to be a favorite. So is Greenville. Those are going to be the teams. I've got the bracket now up in front of me. So basically speaking, these are your first round matchups on this side of the state. You've got Greenville hosting Knoxville Carter. You've got Gibbs hosting Cherokee. You've got Fulton on the road to Elizabethton. And you've got Northview Academy on the road at Anderson County. So those are the teams in this area that are going to be representing Knoxville and this Upper East region of Tennessee. And realistically, I think that if I was to bet, I think Gibbs beats Cherokee. I think Elizabethton beats Fulton. I think Anderson County crushes Northview Academy, and I think Greenville ends it really early against Carter in the first quarter. That's what I predict.
I didn't realize Northview was a public school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're at least playing in the public school. They can't compete yet at the private school level, and so forth. So they're starting off. There's a couple of schools like that had the option to play in the private school league, but they don't have the facilities to come to compete with some of these other schools. So they just compete with the public and the travel. I mean, a lot of people need to remember this. When they make these alignments, there's travel involved, the buses for the players. I mean, my goodness. So they've got to be very smart and cost effective. And not to mention, are you really going to make a team drive all night, honestly, in the bus? I mean, I don't even
Yeah.
think they do the old hotel thing because God knows nobody wants that liability or responsibility. So, but
No,
seriously,
you don't have. If we don't go to camps anymore like we used to, you ain't taking a whole team
no,
out of
no way.
town and putting them in a hotel. Oh no,
No, no way, no way.
no,
So yeah, but I say all that that foray. If I was to bet, I mean, I really think that off the top of my head, it would be probably Greenville or Anderson County coming
no.
from that top. And the sad thing is that's going to be your quarterfinal game. That's not even going to be a day after Thanksgiving game. And I just think that the winner of that Anderson County Greenville game more than likely will probably face Dyer County or Pearl Cone on the other side of the state because those
I
are the
think I
teams that
think
traditionally get there. So
I think Gibbs makes a good run.
I think Gibbs. You know what the problem is? Unfortunately for Gibbs, they're going to have to go to Greenville round two. That's like a game that should be your quarterfinals, but it's a
Yeah.
second round matchup just because of the teams. So yeah, I mean, yeah,
No,
and then just think of this: Alcoa is going to be there next year. Like I just named those teams, and Alcoa is going to be there next year. So
you,
Yeah.
I love.
What I'm curious on also is, does Alcoa run the gauntlet for a couple of years in 4A? Did they move them to 5A? Like, do they start getting more kids in?
They can't play two up. They can't unless their numbers grow as a
Yeah, I was,
school.
I was say, like, if they run the gauntlet, and as we know how East Tennessee is expanding population wise,
Yes, that's a possibility. Yeah,
could,
that would
could
be a
that happen?
possibility. So yeah, I mean, yeah, because but what they would have to have is when we were going through the numbers. I think it was the show before this past one,
Yeah,
and you mentioned somebody was like 988 kids. If they had 988 kids and were legitimately a 4A school at that point, and not the 600 number they're at right now,
yeah.
then yes, they could ask to play up in 5A. They could. So yeah, they could. So there's that. I know we're going to get to 5A here in a second. 6A, between us, I've always been intrigued with 6A, just because of the fact that we play a lot of these teams. And, here's some of the first round matchups. I mentioned already Bearden and Jefferson County being played tomorrow night on TV as the Packer game. The other Packer game on Friday night is going to be Dobbins Bennett versus Farragut, Cleveland and Science Hill, and then William Blunt versus Maryville, at least for this side of it. I mean, first and foremost, no disrespect to the other teams, but I could definitely see a Bearden Farragut rematch, which would be very
Yeah.
interesting this go around as opposed to the first matchup. I think Bearden is better than Farragut, so I would have Bearden winning against Farragut
Oh,
round two.
Bearden is back to the transfer quarterback.
Are they really?
Yep. Because I had, since I couldn't watch the West Powell game, I pulled up Diamond Clear and I watched the West
Or the
and
Beard or
not
the or
West,
the,
sorry,
Mo-
the
the Mo West
Bearden.
Bearden game? Yeah.
Yeah, and they had that, and Drew was back at receiver.
And here's the thing. That game was a lot closer than we thought it would be. I mean, Bearden only ended up winning by 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. 24
Uh,
21 was the final, I think.
I
So
can't remember what it was now.
yeah,
No, it
I
was a
think
little bit more. No, it was more convincing than that.
was it
No,
was it okay.
they had Bradley Central.
Oh, that's right. It was the week before they played Mo West and won
Yep.
24-21. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they beat Bradley Central very good. You're right about that. I'm
Yep.
sorry. I've got my weeks
Yeah,
confused.
that was like 31 to something.
Gotcha. So in essence, it's probably going to be Bearden versus Maryville in that quarterfinals game, and I mean, and then here's the other side. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Oakland and Maryville again the day after Thanksgiving. Oakland's been shown that Oakland lost to Ravenwood. So basically speaking, if they played again, I
Mhm.
wonder if Oakland would get the better of Ravenwood, or how would Maryville fare against Ravenwood if they get to that part. I don't really see anybody in West Tennessee knocking off Ravenwood. Maybe Brentwood would give them a game, or Houston out there out of Memphis, but realistically, I pretty much think Ravenwood gets to the state championship, and unfortunately, Maryville and Oakland have to again face probably each other the day after Thanksgiving, like they've done pretty much every year but last year, and
Yeah,
with the right to play Ravenwood for the state title. If I was to,
yeah,
kind of go
yeah.
at it.
I think Beard's chance to have won at a high level was last year
Yeah,
with Maryville being down. I think like I said all year, Maryville's on a revenge tour. Alcoa obviously got the best of them this year, but I just think that it's Maryville's to win in 6A again until except for we got Ravenwood, but
yeah, yeah, pretty much, and that's going to be exciting to watch their journey. And here's the thing to consider it. It was Halloween. Apparently, I had a friend. I had a friend that basically told me that there was nobody at that game, and it was Halloween night. I get it; it was Thursday night. They
yeah.
played it, but was there a little bit of a post hangover that Maryville was still licking their wounds from the Alcoa loss? They started off slow. Farragut was focused, 21-0, but props to them to come back to win 28-21 in that second half. And now you have to wonder, they got that out of their system. Now are they ready for this run? I mean, William Blunt's not going to give them anything, but I am kind of intrigued with that second round matchup of them playing Science Hill, because remember, Science Hill did play them tough, only this time it
Hmm.
would be at the Black Hole. So that's the thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
And I think Farragut's playing really good football right now, so they're going to make a nice run.
yeah, and the fact that Dobbins Bennett drew the short straw on that one, because that's a dangerous 4 seed you're playing in
Yep.
Farragut. It really is. So yeah. So then let's talk about 5A. We got that bracket up. We're only going to go the first round. We're going to go week by week or what have you. But let's start off in our quad one, because obviously that's the one that we play in. The matchups are Sevier County versus Knox Central, the 1-4 game. Powell is 2-3 against Tennessee High, the Vikings. Knoxville Halls versus Morristown West in the 2-3. Morristown West being the 2 seed, Halls being the 3, and of course our beloved Knoxville West Rebels, the number 1 seed, taking on the 4 seed Davy Crockett. So, kind of predicting that game. You got Sevier County, Knox Central. It's at Sevier County. I have not heard if Sevier County's running back's injury was season ending, or is he just out with a potential to come back? But it looks like their offense hasn't missed a beat, averaging 50 points against the competition, slinging that ball around. So, if I think Central's had a nice season, but I have to go with Sevier County in that one.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm going to Sevier County as well. You're looking at Knox Central sitting at 4-6 on the season, just kind of getting in there to get in there. But Sevier County sitting 10-0, and they've been dominant all year. I'm giving Sevier County all day.
What's your thoughts, Brian?
I'm gonna have to go Sevier County.
Okay.
I was being a little reluctant at first. I was thinking about it. I'm yeah, I like Sevier County. I think Central's gonna give them a tough game. I really like what Kevin Lane's doing over there.
Yeah.
They get after it. They really do get after it. But I really like that Sevier County team.
Do you want to know something interesting, guys? As I was looking at all these different brackets for all the classifications, do you know that West, on their schedule, only one team did not make the playoffs? In all of West's 10 games, everybody but Heritage made the playoffs. And the only reason Heritage didn't was they lost to Central in our region. And that Heritage team beat two of the teams going on the other side of Region 3. So what I'm saying is, if Heritage had been in Region 3 and played us, all 10 of our ball games on our schedule made the playoffs. Clinton's in there, Farragut's in there, Bearden's in there, Maryville, Alcoa, Anderson County, Halls, Central, and Powell. Everybody but Heritage. We have one of the toughest schedules in the state. Nobody can
Yeah,
tell me
hands
different.
down, hands down.
9 out of your 10 teams made the playoffs. I don't give a damn what classification they were in or what region. They made the playoffs. That's serious business. So, yeah. Going to that Powell, Tennessee game. Powell's hosting. Tennessee, they like to run the ball. They're 8-2. Again, you talk about schedule competition. On paper, Powell should win this game, but that's like what you said, Shane. They play the games on Friday night. Is there a possibility that Tennessee High maybe catches Powell, maybe licking their wounds from their loss to us?
I don't think so. I think Powell takes this. I think Powell is going to come back ready to fight after the way last week went, and Tennessee High is going to be the first target. I think they want that rematch the following week or in 2 weeks.
Okay,
Or
that's
excuse me,
fair.
make that 3 weeks from
Oh, no,
right
you're
now.
right. No,
But
it would be 2 weeks. No, you're right. It'd be 2 weeks. I wish it was
yeah,
3 weeks. That game should be the day after Thanksgiving, but yeah. Yeah, I've got Powell too. I just think too much. I think their defense rebounds, and I think they probably will control the line of scrimmage against Tennessee High, especially after what happened last week. So I'll take Powell over Tennessee. What's your thoughts, too, Pair?
I like Powell. I think I think I think Powell wants to really just find a way to go through Tennessee to try to get back to having a chance at West. Because
Yeah.
I really feel like they left stuff on the table and they left points that they couldn't get. So that helps me, what I'm saying, navigate that a little bit because
Oh, absolutely.
Powell's really just circled West, and I think it's a psychological thing to where we're like Debo against those guys.
I like that. So yeah, yeah,
let me go ahead and tuck my chain in real quick.
yeah, yeah. Well, he coming. So shoot. What's up, Craig? Um,
None.
uh, so yeah, I agree with that assessment. Now this game I've been going back and forth on. I really have, because last year I predicted that Halls was going to beat Morristown West, and I looked like egg on my face because Morristown West controlled the ball, had almost 300 yards running on them, and Morristown West ultimately beat Halls. Same scenario. Halls has the better record, and Halls has to travel once again to Mo West. Halls is playing really good. Gave West a great game, lost in overtime, really took it to Central in the Battle of Black Ridge last week. So, what's your thoughts, too, Pair? Are you going Halls or are you going Mo West in this one?
You know what? Dang.
I mean, that's probably the toughest one to predict, in my opinion. So, yeah.
I'm gonna pause by 3.
So Halls gets it done on the road. Okay. I've got Halls winning in that one too. I think that Lethgo is playing really good right now. Their quarterback and their defense seems to be making some plays. And I think that Halls gets a little bit of vengeance on Mo West, wanting a rematch with Knoxville West. Shane, what's your thoughts?
This was a tough one for me. Also, Mo West has played some good teams this year. They've had some close battles. Hall's record, they're on paper they're better, but I've got Halls written down in my bracket right now, just for the way that they played us. That overtime game, and stopping the 2 point conversion, go in overtime.
Hmm.
Give me Halls. I think they got something to prove. I think they want that rematch.
Yeah, absolutely, and they feel like they let one slip against Mo West last year, so so
Yeah.
that's going to be one to keep an eye on. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about West versus Davy Crockett. I think that we all agree that West will win. The question is going to be what the margin is going to be by at that point. So we'll move on. Going to quad two, Oak Ridge against Ray County. Now, this is a very interesting game. Oak Ridge has a lot of injuries, I'm hearing. They still have the home seed, and Ray County, who's 5-4, has to go play Oak Ridge at Oak Ridge. I have Oak Ridge written down, I think, almost because of the name. But realistically, I would not be surprised if Ray County goes into Blankenship Field and wins. That magic is not there anymore at Blankenship Field, where a lot of
I
teams
went
used to
I
lose.
went Ray County. I went Ray County on this
I
one.
wouldn't be surprised. I hope. Shoot, I mean, if you're right, you're right. So yeah, I mean, yeah,
Oak Ridge hasn't impressed me a lot this year. I think they kind of squeaked in through there. They obviously they won. They're number one in Region 3, but the record doesn't impress me. I'm curious what Ray County would have been if they had that 10th game. Um, I've got Ray County down right now. And maybe it's
okay.
just I'm thinking of previous years with them, but
I wouldn't be surprised if that region sweeps that other region. That's the one game that I did not pick Region 4, that I went with Oak Ridge just because they were at home. I think if it was at Ray County, it'd be a no-brainer. Two pair, your thoughts on that Oak Ridge Ray County game?
Oak Ridge, Ray County. I hadn't been really too impressed with Oak Ridge. Has had some up and down games. Like they've been up, they've been down. I'm gonna, I'm gonna go Ray County because I think if Oak Ridge was at 100%, they win this game.
Probably, I'd say that. So yeah, okay. So so I'm the only one going with Oak Ridge. You guys are going with Ray County. Moving on to the next game, two pair. Who do you have between the number 2 seed McMinn County 5-5 against Clinton, who really is limped into these playoffs with a 3-7 record? But again, credit to those kids for getting there, despite having their coach be replaced at the last minute, and props to any of those kids still on that team fighting. You got to
that
give them
that
mad
that
props.
in my opinion that should be Carnes there. But I watched Carnes have that game slip away. But we'll talk about that when it gets to me. But
Yeah, no
go ahead,
problem.
BT.
No problem.
Yeah. So in like Clinton, they don't have a lot, and they went through a ton of problems. You know what I'm saying? As far as like not, I mean, the coach is like it's not going to be wasn't coaching at the beginning of the season and get a new coach, new athletic director. Just a lot of changes happened so abruptly to Clinton, and they just haven't been able to get that ship back on track. Because when they played us, we just were the better team. We had the better athletes, better coaching staff, and we imposed our will.
Yeah.
Um, like nothing against them. It's just we just imposed our will when we played you. It's just is what it
Yeah, and McMinn County's a tough place to play, So McMinn County's actually gotten it together. They started off a little slow, but they've won 4 out of their last 5 games. Their only loss being to Powell 2 weeks ago, and so basically, give me McMinn County pretty big in this game. Honestly, I
Yeah,
really,
I'm
really
going McMahon County as well.
Yeah. So, Shane, what's your thoughts on Lenoir City? Once again, first year coach Scott Cummings getting to host a game against Walker Valley. Walker Valley, really, a lot of people are surprised at. You talked about how you felt Karn should be in that matchup. Excuse me, instead of Clinton. A lot of people felt that Walker Valley was on pace to win the region, and they just got absolutely smoked last week by East Hamilton, and because of that, East Hamilton became the 1 seed and is hosting Carnes, and Walker
Yep.
Valley's having to go on the road to Lenoir City. But I still think Walker Valley has enough talent to beat Lenoir City. I know Lenoir City is just going to have to try to control the clock and play keep away and limit Walker Valley's possessions. But give me Walker Valley by at least 3 touchdowns.
I actually went Lenore City just based off Coach Cummings' track record in the playoffs.
Not a bad job. Good, yeah, yeah. He does find a way to win them once in a while. So, yeah, when he's the underdog.
is.
Okay, two
So
pair.
yeah,
What's your thoughts?
Let's see. Now
Walker
this
Valley 6-3, Lenore City 6-4. Walker Valley also got screwed because of the hurricane. They didn't have a game
but
yet made up.
I'm
So yeah,
I'm pro with North City,
Lenore City. Okay, all
Illinois.
right, okay, all right. And now, Shane, I'll let you have the floor. Carnes is the four seed at 3-7, traveling to East Hamilton down there in Chattanooga. East Hamilton, as I mentioned, was the Region 4 winner, champion, and number one seed.
Carnes has too many issues offensively. Their play calling is too predictable when it comes to everything. Their defense keeps them in games, but give me East Hamilton all day on this one. Love my Beavers over there. I know a bunch of kids on that team. Just because I've been around it. Also, shout out to Deshaun Bishop. I was at that game. Was it last week? I was at their game. Whatever their senior night was, and my son got to meet Deshaun
Week before
Bishop.
last.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. You said
Yeah,
two.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that offense, the Carnes is not cutting it right now. The play calling is way too predictable. They get away from what they should do, which is run that ball. They won't pass it. The pass play is very similar every time. What they go with. The running back can only do so much. Defense can't stay on the field the whole game. East Hamilton all day. Give me East Hamilton by 3 touchdowns.
Good pick. Good pick. So, moving on to quad three. Now, I know we don't know a lot about these teams, but based on record, here you have this is the quad that is Big Bad Page, 10-0, trying to get back to the state championship game for the fourth straight year. Have only allowed 13 games, sorry, 13 points rather, excuse me. Their first game is against 6-4 Columbia Central. I guess is a better question, not does Page win, but is the better question, does Columbia Central even score? Because they've shut out 8 out of their 10 opponents this year. Page, I'm talking about.
You're looking at a Page Shelbyville matchup before you get to the semis. Is
Yeah.
how I look at it. So getting through that quad, it's gonna be Page's to win all the way through. They're like us. They've been there multiple times. They want that ball.
Three
We've always
D1
been.
commits, three D1 commits, including a Tennessee commit as well on their team.
You
Brandon
you
Maynard.
you
So
you give me Page all the way through,
okay.
all the way through the championship game. It's Page's to win. I'd love to see a rematch again, obviously between them with us, but it's Page's to win right now. I'd almost pencil them in all the way. I don't see anybody knocking them off.
I see you're skipping ahead just a tad. There's two teams that I feel might be able to trip Page up, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay.
You talking
Um,
about Beach?
I'm talking about Beach, and I'm also talking about a Southwind. Southwind, a lot of people felt should have beaten Page last year, and Southwind was crying about officials maybe giving Page the benefit of the doubt because the game was played at Page. This go around, the day after Thanksgiving, Page would have to go to either Beach or Southwind, and I keep thinking about how West almost got screwed out of that state title because of Ray County officials. I mean, Page is a very talented team, don't get me wrong, but there could be some calls that are made that might make that game a little bit more harder for Page. I mean, on paper, it looks like Page should be in the championship game as the West representative, but I'm very intrigued by that Beach Southwind second round game in quad 4 because the winner of that, I truly feel, will be playing Page in the semifinals. So I agree with you, but I mean, your thoughts on that, guys, on that other side of the state?
Yeah, man, that's the tough side that you don't want to you don't want to see, but we've seen it before.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you this, if you think about this, that side of the state, you've got the number 1 team Page, you've got the number 3 team Beach, you've got the number 4 team Southwind, you got the number 5 team Munford, and you've got the number 7 team in Shelbyville. So you have 5 out of the top 7 teams in the state of the Class 5A on that other side, on a collision course to play each other. I mean, I think it's almost a shame that Beach and Southwind, who are currently ranked 3 and 4 respectively with 9-1 records, are going to meet in that second round. I mean, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's I mean that's who I've got in the second round. Anyways, and it's just going to be. Whew, this will be a game to watch, really.
Yeah, no, that would probably be the most exciting game next week. Obviously they have to play the games. Munford is an interesting team. They're 9-1, but their one loss was to Upperman, who I mentioned earlier about a possibility of Upperman and Alcoa. But the truth of the matter is that Munford, I just think that they're that team that always comes out of Memphis and beats those other teams, and then they kind of lay an egg. So I wouldn't be surprised if Springfield springs the upset. No pun intended. There as the 4 seed in that bottom of that bracket. I have Munford winning that game, but I would not be surprised if Springfield. I'm not that confident in that pick. I'm really going more on record of 9-1, but Springfield's 5-5 is against a lot tougher competition. That's just my thoughts on it. So yeah, but
Yeah, I got Munford also just based off record, but
yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see. That's why they play the games. So yeah, the other thing too. I don't even know how good Shelbyville is. 9-1. They're going to be playing Hillsborough, who's a traditional team. I mean, obviously, we agree that Shelbyville probably gets to that at least quarterfinals game against Page, but really tough task for them to go to Page in that third round and try to knock them off at Page. So yeah, on Friday the 22nd. So. Yeah, but that's why they play the game. So we'll keep track of it, and it should be a really fun next couple of days. I definitely will have eyes on that Bearden game tomorrow night to see how they do, and then obviously we'll be at West for Friday's game. So switching from high school, I want to get a little college action going on. College football week 10 thoughts. Vols take care of business against Kentucky. Another little bit of a slow start, but they got it together in the third quarter. Shane, what are you looking for this week against Mississippi State, man? I mean, we cannot have another
Get
slow
the
start.
the re,
I mean,
get the receivers involved in the game. I don't know what is going on. It's abysmal to watch the receivers. I mean, the run game's our bread and butter right now. Um, Nico's got time now. He's getting better with it. But I don't know. There was too many drop passes during that game that should have been for touchdowns. Also I love seeing Kentucky lose. As a little brother, I'd love to see the beer barrel brought back out. But man, like you gotta get the receivers going. I don't know what's going on there. It's not making sense to me. You look at the way our receiving corps has been for years under the hypo offense, and it's just not there this year. And I don't know what it is. I don't think it's play calling. I don't think it's development because let's see, it was what Kelsey Pope's the receiver coach, and he's got these dudes. He knows how to make talent out of them. So I don't know what's going on. Though I don't know what they got to do, but you got to get the
Chipper,
receiver game going.
can I ask you both a question about this? Because I had a discussion with another Tennessee fan about this. I get where Heupel, he runs the offense and you want to be balanced. You can't just be one dimensional. But with the fact that the receivers are kind of letting you down in this aspect, is it a mistake that we're not riding the Samson train? Because this guy, as much as people talk about Ashton Gianti over there at Boise State, and with all due respect, the guy's a killer at Boise
Yeah,
State.
kid's a stud.
You
He's a
know,
stud.
hands down. But maybe we backed the wrong guy. With obviously the Nico Heisman talk is stopped, but what I'm saying is Samson with 19 touchdowns, already having the school record in a season, and you still have 4 ball games left. I mean, good God, man, he could have 30 touchdowns when it's all
He's
said.
going. He's going to destroy the record.
That's what I'm saying. So my question is, maybe, and then you mentioned Deshaun Bishop in a different light, but make that a 1-2 punch or something at this point
Well,
if
this
you're a better
Deshaun.
running team. So
Deshaun's out. He got hurt
is
in the
he
first
okay?
half. He got hurt in the first half of the Kentucky game, so he's out for the Mississippi State game.
Okay,
Saw that come across today.
I didn't know that. So thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that. So okay.
yeah. But
So
I
who's the
mean,
third string back? I mean, obviously they got talent in the field. I'm just saying, who else could you
it's
who
supposed
could
to
you
be
run?
Selden, but I don't
Okay.
know if he's healthy.
Gotcha. Okay. So Well, and that's just my point. I mean, like I know you don't want to run him into the ground, and the receivers just need to step up, like you said, or somebody, give one of these younger guys a try if the older guys aren't getting it done. But man, I mean, I just look at
See,
Samson. I mean, that guy's a
Squirrel
player.
White's
That guy's a
battles some
player.
injuries. Uh, Freaking, why am I drawing blanks on names right now?
Brew.
Brew McCoy. It's been he's faster this year than he's ever been after coming off that injury.
Hmm.
He's still a dog, but need to get him involved more. Chaz Nimrod did good blocking. No, that was Mike Matthews on the block. Never mind, he got some reps last week. Um, I didn't see Mike Matthews step up. I didn't see Nimrod step up. I didn't see Squirrel go back to what he's been doing. Devontae Thornton needs to really. He's been our go-to. He needs to make some catches. Brazel needs to step up and just make some plays. The whole receiving core just needs to step up and make plays and do what y'all have been able to do this past couple of years.
Yeah, offense is very lucky. The defense, even with the injuries they've had on that side of the ball, the defense is still doing their thing.
Yeah, I was worried about when Keen Peely went out, but defense hasn't skipped a beat. So
Yeah. Two pair, any chance of a look ahead? You got that Georgia game next week. Everybody's going to be talking about it prime time on ABC. What's your thoughts about maybe Tennessee looking ahead, Brian? Two pair, Brian?
Yo, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no. I was going to ask you what's your thoughts about Mississippi State? Like in terms of would Tennessee be looking ahead to that Georgia matchup? You got to focus on these dogs and not the dogs next week. So that type of a thing. So
I Tennessee is looking forward to that Georgia game. I don't want them to look past Mississippi State because Mississippi State has not been a good football team. They can put up some points. They can't stop a nosebleed. So
yeah, yeah. And
I
I don't want to look ahead. I don't want to look ahead either. But realistically, Georgia's beatable, man. I mean, listen, they're damn lucky DJ Lagway got hurt because Florida was giving them everything they want in that game, honestly.
yeah,
So yeah.
the way Carson Beck has played. I want to say what in the last 3 games, what 8 picks.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
he's stinking. He's stinking. So I
yeah,
can't believe he's still
yeah.
even on the Heisman hopeful list. For
I
goodness
mean,
sake.
You know,
I've watched these games, and Georgia is very, very beatable. You've got teams that shouldn't even be competing with them. Give them a run for their money. Like I almost thought Florida was going to win last week.
They should have. They really should have. I mean,
here's what I
honestly.
about the Heisman. I think Cam Ward put up the most impressive, like numbers wise or big games. He's won big games. Travis Hunter is probably the best football player
Yeah.
really in college football. Ashton Jeanty probably up there, but why is Dylan Sampson not getting any mention?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is one of those deals where I hate to say this because I'm not trying to compare um, players of different eras, but let me give you a perfect example. And no disrespect, if you go back to the 2002 season, Larry Johnson was a phenomenal running back for Penn State. But and everybody was talking about him as a Heisman winner over Willis McGahee, who was absolutely outstanding for Miami that year before the bad knee injury in the Fiesta Bowl. People,
Oh God, that
if
was
you never
brutal.
saw Willis McGahee, I mean, he was a badass. So
Yeah,
the thing is, McGahee had 28 touchdowns on the year, but everybody was talking about Larry Johnson being the Doak Walker winner and everything like that for best running back. I mean, and listen, I'm not trying to take anything away from Genty and Boise State, but look what Samson's done against SEC teams. That's all I'm saying, man. Without
he,
Samson, you probably have lose the Florida game and you've probably lost the Alabama game. If I'm being real,
Mm-hmm.
without
yeah,
Samson, without
and
Samson,
the Oklahoma game.
and the Oklahoma game. So that guy right there is pretty much the reason why you're even in this thing for the college football
He is
playoff.
what we wanted Alvin Kamara
Yeah,
to be in
or
that
Jalen
offense.
Hurd or someone like that back in the day. So
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
think Jalen Hurts should have been moved to a tight
Receiver.
end,
Yeah.
or I would. He was built more tight end. He had to lose a lot of weight when he went to Baylor to become a receiver. I
Hmm.
think he would have been better suited at height and size wise as a tight end. and or we would go on with a true 1-2 punch instead of just focusing on Hurd back then, and we would got seeing a lot more of Kamara and what he was capable. But Dylan Sampson is what we wanted Kamara to be, because Kamara became that in the NFL. But I think he's going to have a breakout game. Like I'm talking about, like Heisman type game these next 2 weeks, and then you start seeing a change in it. Because if you can go dominate Georgia with the run game, and he gets 2-3 touchdowns in that game, ooh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see a change in the Heisman race right there, and at
I,
least give him the Doug Walker Award. At least that.
Yeah.
I think Samson should be mentioned for the Heisman. Like he really is putting up numbers.
I
Like,
think if they beat Georgia, they will too, Pair. I believe that. If they beat Georgia and now you're putting them as the front runner for the SEC at that point, they can't ignore that. They can't at that point. So maybe that's what's holding it back. That Beck is only getting consideration because he's the quarterback of Georgia. I mean, so but you beat Georgia next week at Georgia, Samson will definitely spring up the chart and so forth, especially if
Yeah.
he's added what 3 or 4 more touchdowns these next couple games, including
I
that
say I
Georgia
say
game.
I say he gets 2 to 3 next week. So you're saying that 21 to 22 touchdowns
Hmm.
after this weekend, unless he has just a massive breakout game and we destroy their defensive line, just run all day on them. And then depending on if Bishop is healthy by the Georgia game, because then you got to focus on both of them because he's been good. And Sampson's just his knack to get through the hole, and his ability to run and just make plays for himself and get that extra yardage and find ways. Like the way he fights for yardage reminds me of Jawan Jennings, the way he would fight for
Oh
yardage.
yeah, yeah, good comparison. Yards after contact, I like it. So yeah. Well, speaking of which, let's transition. Talk about the Vols win. College football playoff, first one ever. Rankings came out yesterday. So my question to you guys, was Tennessee in the right spot? Were they a little low? Any grievances is what the word I'm saying with what the committee revealed to be their top 12.
Give me that list real quick since my computer is still
Sure, sure.
updating. I can't
Well,
pull anything up
I'll
on my
go by
phone.
the rankings because remember, the rules are that the top highest conference winners, and that's from the Big 12, the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 10, automatically get the four. But how they
Yeah.
ranked them was different from where their seeds are. So, for example, they actually had Ohio State as the second best team, 1 through 12. But in reality, Ohio State was the highest at large team at number 5. So number 1 was Oregon, and Oregon would be the number 1 seed because of their head to head with Ohio State. Ohio State was technically ranked 2, but they would be your 5 seed. Georgia was the 3 seed, but was technically the number 2. Was like your number 2 seed. Miami was number 4 in the ranking, but would be your 3 seed, being the highest, the third highest ACC, being the ACC champion. And
yeah.
then your 5 seed, if I'm not mistaken, was actually Texas, but Texas would be ranked number 6 because they would be the second SEC team, with Georgia being the highest ranked SEC team.
Okay.
Then
Who's number 4? Is it
number 4 is
BYU?
Miami.
I,
Your 4 seed is BYU, but they actually had them ranked ninth in 1 through 12.
I'm
wow.
trying. I'm trying to write
Yes,
all these. I'm trying to
yeah,
write all these down. Okay, so number
sure,
1. So let's go by seeds real quick.
okay.
So we got Oregon, Georgia, Miami, BYU.
Yes, those are your top 4. Now your
All
number
right.
5 seed is Ohio State,
Okay.
and your 12 seed is Boise State because they're considered the highest non-conference ranked team, like not
Okay.
Mm,
non-power 4 team. So yeah,
Yeah, because
so they're
Tennessee's
number 12.
ranked 7th, right?
Yeah, Tennessee's ranked 7th, but unfortunately, they have us as the 8th hosting Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is ranked as the number 9 seed as an at-large bid.
but
Okay.
I like it. They're doing it with like the top 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that should be that. I mean, that should be that because
That's
here's
basically your conference winners.
Yeah, your conference winners, and especially, I mean, how could you not rank BYU and Miami in those spots if they do run the table? Maybe the competition's not SEC level. I'll admit that, but hey, props to them for getting through a schedule of 13 or 12 games unscathed. Same with Oregon. If Oregon is able to run the table in the Big Ten, we've said all year that the SEC team could have 2 or 3 losses, honestly, with how they have to play each other. So.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this real quick. How cool would that be if the rankings held up? They never do. But could you imagine if Tennessee and Notre Dame played in Neyland Stadium in December? That would
Um,
be incredible. They haven't played since 2004 or 2005 when Charlie Weiss, we had to go up there and lost up there when they had
Yep.
Brady Quinn and all them. So,
I
yeah.
remember that one.
beat them with Clausen though.
Hmm?
We did beat them with Clausen.
Ooh,
I
we.
I think I think Clausen beat them.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But I'm thinking of the '04 game where we lost on that last second field goal when Eric Ainge was our quarterback. I have the '04 game on my mind or whatever
Yeah,
like that. So, but Clausen did beat them
Clausen
in either 2000 or 2001 when they played, if I'm not mistaken. So,
and
yeah.
then Miracle at South Bend. I want to say Andy Kelly.
Andy Kelly, very good
Yep.
memory. Yep, the Miracle in South Bend. So yeah, so there's a tradition there between those two teams, and the bands and everything at Neyland Stadium in December. It's never been done before. That'd be pretty cool, honestly. Of course,
Uh,
here's the other thing too. Tennessee beats Georgia and wins the SEC. Tennessee would have that 2 seed and would have a bye. Wouldn't even worry about having a game at Neyland. They'd be
God, but
playing probably in the Sugar Bowl.
I'd love a playoff game in Neyland. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
and it'll
Playoff.
happen. I think it'll happen. I do. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they should be in the playoff. Okay, so now let me ask you. So let me tell you this. So then you asked to fill out the bracket. Alabama's the 11 seed, and they would be playing Texas in the first round at Texas.
But they got
Um,
an elimination game this week.
yes, they do. Yeah, Indiana again. Well, does Indiana play Ohio State this week, or is that next week? I think
LS,
that's
LSU and Alabama played.
that's right.
So that is technically
Ooh.
an
An
elimination.
elimination game. Yeah. So
Yep. Give me LSU.
yeah. Yeah, because it's at LSU, isn't it? It's going to be there, and LSU always seems to have Alabama's number when it's at LSU.
Everybody, the way Alabama's played this year,
Yeah,
they're ranked because they're Bama.
that's it. And the third loss should shut the door on that. The third loss
Yeah.
should shut the door on it, but I don't
They're
know.
they're saving graces at Georgia game right now.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, and Georgia dicked around in that one. So, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. What I'm going to be very intrigued with is, we talked about it last week. Ohio State beats Penn State for the 8th time in a row. My
Man,
question is this, man. If and I posed the question to you guys last year, or sorry, last week. Would you be content if you were a Penn State fan knowing that your ceiling is now the playoff? Before it was the New Year's Six, but when are they going to beat the Michigans and the Ohio States to earn Big Ten supremacy? I mean, I think they've squeezed all they can out of James Franklin, but who would they get to be that next coach to maintain it at the level they're playing right now? Is what I'm getting at. I'm not a Penn State fan
Ooh.
either, but
I'm
it's
just
like,
I'm just saying Penn State has not been like what the last time Penn State had an undefeated Joe Paterno was still the coach.
yes, yes,
I'm saying that was 94.
yeah.
That's a long,
Yeah.
long
And I think that probably
time.
the best team they've had since then was the team that with Paul Puslesny that lost to Florida State in that classic Orange Bowl game back in '05 or something. Like they haven't had like a really great team that's run the table. I mean, that's the only thing. I'm telling you, Shane, like I could just imagine those Penn State fans. I mean, they had the home field, they had game day. I mean, what more did they need? And I mean, in Ohio State is not an exactly a world beater on defense, and the most they could muster was 17 points because their offense is so bad. So
Yeah, I mean, I think Franklin's reached his ceiling,
yeah,
but I don't know who you get to replace him.
they're lucky they have him at this point.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, look
mean,
how long it took Vanderbilt to find somebody to replace him after he left Vanderbilt. So,
yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know.
I mean, it, I think they've reached their ceiling. I don't think they're ever going to get over that hump of Ohio State and Michigan. I think it's always going to be those three. But
Yeah, and now Oregon, and now they got to worry about Oregon whenever they get
oh
them
yeah,
on the schedule now. So yeah, I mean,
yeah. I mean,
well,
right
here's the
now,
thing too. I'll tell you this. I think a team that we've talked about them. I'm very curious what happens in that Indiana Ohio State game in a couple weeks. I am very, very intrigued by that. On paper, probably Ohio State wins, but that's why they play the game.
yep.
And Indiana believes. And I'll tell you this: if that Indiana defense shows up, I would take Indiana's offense against Ohio State's defense, but it might be one of those shootout games. Just to be clear. So yeah, but
Man, I'm about that game too.
yeah, because that Indiana coach, he can coach, man. He can. What he's done over there, that's a miracle right there in one season. So yeah,
It changed that like he's changed the whole
yeah.
culture.
He has, and you want to know something? Can I tell you something about the rankings? And this is no disrespect.
Mm,
There might even be a team. It depends. It has a couple of teams have to sneak in there. But if this is ultimately the 12 that are selected, and obviously Boise State's ceiling can be no higher than 12. So let's say they run the table and stay there. But the teams that are 1 through 11, if they stay with the exception of maybe Alabama's out, LSU jumps in, blah 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 blah, there's no perfect team. There's no super team, is what I'm getting at. Everybody's got their weaknesses.
Mhm.
Miami has no defense. Oregon's defense is suspect. Georgia's offense, if they keep turning the ball over, somebody's going to trip them up.
mm,
Look at BYU. I mean, have they played anybody? That can match them physically. Would a more physical team beat them in the trenches? I'm just looking at all these teams. Texas, their win against Michigan and and Oklahoma don't look good at all right now, and so forth. So we're going to learn more about Texas this Saturday against Florida. I'm not saying Florida is going to win because they haven't even said if Lagway's playing or not. But what I'm getting at is how does Texas do against Florida in a noon game? So like I said, this is open for anybody, and I think if Tennessee can handle business these next 4 weeks, why not Tennessee? Honestly, why not?
Yeah, Tennessee's going to have to get past Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt scares me.
That's a
Vanderbilt
tough.
is.
That's going to be a tough damn team. No, that is going to be a tough damn team. And you know what? I hear it's a hard ticket right now to get. It's a
I
very pricey
I
game
believe
now.
I
And you
believe it.
could walk up. You could have walked up 2 years ago and gotten a ticket for $10. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, no one saw this from Vanderbilt. No one saw it,
yeah,
and it's really
Vanderbilt.
hard.
Hey, what's my man Diego Pavia?
yeah. Pavia, man, from New Mexico, came over. Yeah,
Freeze owns Hugh Freeze.
yeah.
Owns Hugh Freeze, man.
Can we talk about that for a second? Listen, I just can't believe what has happened to Auburn football.
Man,
I
it
mean,
feels like it feels like Auburn football. They won the title? Was it 2011?
12. No, you're right. 11. It was 11 with Cam Newton. Yeah, 11. Yeah.
Then they played in another national title in
L-
2013.
Lost to your Knowles in the fourth quarter. Had a lead most of that game. The Knowles came back in the fourth quarter and won that one against Trey Mason and those guys.
Yeah,
Right. So it's getting to the point. Like I don't think they've come close to any of that ever. Like, haven't.
No, they've had a few bright spots here and there. No doubt. I think that was such a backbreaker for them was losing that game to Alabama last year and allowing that fourth and it felt like 100.
Yeah.
And they lost that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
That,
look at a team like Oklahoma too. I
mhm.
think they bit off way more than they could chew. They're homeschool in this conference. I mean,
It is rough.
It's a rough conference. Look what happened to A&M. I predicted South Carolina was going to win that game. That's a tough. Listen, you want to know something really interesting? We cannot compare Moss, who's a hell of a running back for A&M, and I hope he's okay from that broken leg. But the way that injury happened to A&M early in the game was very reminiscent to Herndon getting hurt, and that just sucks the life right out of you in a night game in a hostile environment like Columbia. And look what happened there, and A&M's hopes is done now at this point, it looks like,
Yeah,
losing
man.
that bad. So, yeah. And they lost another running back for the year. That's their second star running back they've lost this year.
A lot of talent this year, man.
Yeah.
I really do. The game that I really got my eyes on, well, is gonna definitely be this LSU Alabama game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if LSU loses this game,
Mm-hmm.
where is this program when it comes to SEC? Because this used to be a model SEC school. And you look at the championships that they won, and they're not far removed from a championship. 2019.
Yeah, I mean, it was just 5 years ago. Burrow and those Super Boys were there, so yeah.
It
Probably
just
one of the best college football teams ever.
Probably, yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. Probably one of the most exciting as well to watch. I mean, my God, did they make it?
I mean, they broke every record.
Every record. I mean, they made it look easy. They made it look easy. So yeah, I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you see, and you look at how bad it's gotten in Auburn.
Yeah.
They lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah. I mean, you could say it's like, oh, the West is just more dominant. Now it's just they're garbage right now.
Yeah. Can I also say this? Last week, and I'm kind of going back between 10 and 11. We're talking about some games now this week that we're keeping an eye on. A game last week that stood out to me score wise. Ole Miss absolutely destroying Arkansas, and that just still hurts my heart that we lost on the road that game.
I think we're looking ahead.
Yeah,
on that one
to Florida. Yeah, to looking at Florida. Yeah. So
Arkansas, I think coaching and then the matchups that we just didn't put them in. We didn't put those players in the right. Like, never adjusted in that second half. Like, it just like we didn't make adjustments to put more of what Nico was doing now on the rollouts and getting guys into space with a little bit of screen action and more dominance of the run game. Like, the offensive line of, Javante Spraggins, Campbell, Mays, they have been playing very well. Like,
they've turned it around. They definitely have turned it around. So yeah. Well, and again, this is when you want to be playing your best ball. We've said that in November. This is where it is, and it's hard to believe.
They remember what you do in November.
Yeah, they do. They certainly do. Can I give you guys a game that, as a Miami fan, I'm terrified of Georgia Tech. I think that Georgia Tech could beat Miami in Atlanta. It's prime noon game, sleepwalk. They beat them last year on that fumble and the Hail Mary at the end. I mean, Georgia Tech's been one of those teams that's had Miami's number for whatever reason, and Miami just plays absolutely stupid. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Canes go down this weekend, So I'm that game terrifies me. You're terrified about Vanderbilt for Tennessee. I'm terrified of Georgia Tech for Miami because Miami's defense is horrendous. They are horrible. I mean, they can't tackle. They take bad angles, and Cam Ward can only do so much and bail them out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. So as a Miami fan, and I'm just being real. I mean, I hope they whip ass, but I'm just being real. So yeah. I mean, but that's a game. That's
really like, man, I really do. I like. Oh, and I gotta ask. So we need to do a new thing. Like, where do you rank them? So.
Oh yeah.
Huge record.
Yeah, Restrepo, my guy Restrepo. Shout out to George Diaz, who's a fan of Rebels with a Cause. His uncle is George Diaz, who has watched our show before. So yeah, honestly, I looked at who was on those records and so forth, and Miami's had some nice receivers that have done it in college. And then there's been a few that have been elite in the
Yeah.
NFL.
Irvin.
Irvin,
Mo-
Andre Johnson, Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne. For a while there, Brian Blades was in the NFL back then. Lamar Thomas.
hold on. Brent Perryman.
Yes, exactly. Horace Copeland. So yeah.
Right.
So here's the thing.
Real Hill.
Randall Thrill Hill. Thank you. So I thought about it, and maybe I am going off of what they did in the NFL of why I ranked them this way ahead of Restrepo. But here's the thing: Xavier Restrepo is a very hardworking player. I love him to death. I wish we had 11 Xavier Restrepos on Miami's defense if they put the work in. But I would rank him fifth. Irvin number one, because Irvin did it in college and just exploded in the NFL. Andre Johnson made Ken Dorsey's life easy during those couple years.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne and Santana Moss literally were the guys that turned Miami around from the probation years to get to that national championship, and they really exploded in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
So I would put Restrepo fifth behind those guys, and if you compare in college, because those guys were each 1,000-yard receivers in their respective seasons. When they were there at Miami, Restrepo's there now. But Restrepo also, it's taken him 4 years to do it, while Andre Johnson only played 3. Santana Moss and Reggie Wayne, they were also probably 4-year guys. They played freshman, freshman through senior year, but that was during the probation years too. So you have to look at the era, who they were surrounded with. But I'll tell you this: and Ward, as far as they take Miami, is how far Miami goes, because they're the heart and soul of that team. They really are. Not that the other players aren't good, but realistically, the senior leadership of those two guys has taken why Miami would be just another 6-6 team to why they're 9-0 right now. So that's just my opinion. So yeah,
I love to see that though. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Man, like I love just that area of football. Yeah,
yeah,
I grew up on, you know what I'm saying? I grew up on Tennessee, Florida State, Florida type football. Like
yeah.
that, you
It
know,
was
that,
a different era. It was a different era. And could you imagine how much fun we would have had in high school of the possibility that, because remember back in the day, if Tennessee lost to Florida, it was pretty much done.
that's it.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, if you had this era now, Tennessee's what, an 8 seed with fucking Peyton Manning and T. Martin? Sorry for my language, it's after dark. But I'm just saying, like you think about that though. Like those Tennessee teams would be easily top 5 or top 10, even
Oh
with
yeah.
a loss to Florida. And maybe somebody knocks off Florida, you don't have to worry about them. You play in Eddie George, Ohio State in like the quarterfinals or the semifinals against Florida State and work done. I'm just saying that era back then. So yeah, but because Tennessee had some damn good teams. I mean, 95 through 2001 was just sick with
Yeah.
talent, honestly.
Yeah.
Sick with talent. In the NFL, they played for years, those guys that were on those teams, offense and defense and special teams. Were
That era
unbelievable,
of
man.
talent, that era of talent is what we grew up on, and that's why
Ye-
we love high school football. That's why we love college football.
Yep.
Like that era, and that's why I think it's going to be vital to do this
Hmm.
AIL prep extra 5-star prep.
5-star preps,
Look
absolutely.
at those different eras of guys. Like,
I'm going to throw this out there too, Per and Shane. Chime in on this as well. I think that's what hurt me as a Miami and a Tennessee fan, because I was spoiled during those years, And then look at the coaches that both those teams went through, and I mean, stink. Just a bad product on the field, clowned by your rivals and so many teams and losing streaks. And it's like, it's so nice that this has probably been the most enjoyable football season that I've had with both of
Yeah.
them in the top 10 for the majority of the freaking year. And I
Yeah.
just don't want it to end. I mean, I know it will, but it's fun when your team is still in the conversation week 11 and not
Yeah.
it's over after week 2. And that's what happens so many times with Tennessee and Miami, and it frustrated the hell out of me.
Yeah. Like you knew by like yours,
Yeah.
like for Tennessee, like by week 3, you already knew where the season was.
Yeah, and that's horrible because we wait for it all year. Like we're like kids like Christmas in July and August. It's here, it's here, it's here. And then you lose a disappointing game to like a Cal. Like that sucked the life out of me in 2007. When
Right.
we lost to Cal that first game, I was like, and that team was supposed to be good. And then we had
Yeah.
a losing record and Fulmer gets fired. I mean, what the hell happened there? So no,
I
no,
mean,
no. We went to the SEC we went to the SEC championship game that year, I think.
Yeah,
we
sorry.
went in
'07.
'07, lost to LSU.
Yeah, who am I? Oh wait, we lost
Oh
to
wait,
UCLA on the road. That's who it was.
and
Late.
freaking
Yeah,
Wyoming or some shit like that.
yeah, horrible, horrible. And and I was just like,
Well, yeah,
what?
I mean, the reason Fulmer was outed was because he was on track to break Nealon's all-time winning percentage or all-time winning record, and powers that be of high donors has him didn't want to see his coach be number two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, we suffered. We suffered. So that's why I want to enjoy this ride as long as I can and so forth because, I mean, two pair, I'm not trying to troll when I say this. Think about last year, how special that was for Florida State before Jordan Travis got hurt, and even then they found ways to win, and then everybody gave up when they didn't get to the playoff, and so forth. But my question is, look what's happened this year. I mean, and from one year to the next, good God, I mean, I'm sure Florida State fans right now are just, how the hell did this happen? Honestly, at this point. So,
What
yeah.
I think about, man, to be honest with you, is really wild to think about.
And they were a preseason 10. I mean, somebody saw talent, somebody saw something. And it's like, I know why we do these preseason polls, and we're going to talk about basketball here before we end the show. It's been a great show tonight. Lots to talk about. I love having stuff to talk about instead of just like fill in crap or whatever. But I mean, I just think about that, like, what these polls. I almost the joke is maybe wait till week 6 to start ranking teams or something. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. But it is one of those things where it's like it's fun to talk about. It gets you excited. But man, when you play the games head to head and your team looks like absolute garbage, that they don't even belong on the field with this team, who the hell ranked them? Did anybody watch this practice for real, or you just saw, oh, returning starter. Oh, this transfer, he's going to be good, So yeah.
And then you just, and just go down the bottom line.
We could. I agree with Cuban Kane. He's my immortal enemy, but we could definitely, if they don't get a quarterback to replace Cam Ward and they don't get, the right guys to replace the dudes. I mean, you don't replace an Xavier Restrepo like that, we could easily be FSU next year and be the one getting clowned 1-8 or whatever the record is. I don't deny that.
But that's one thing I like, though, is the fact that Miami's recruiting the youth type guys again, like
Yeah.
those type guys that I really think go for the tradition of that school,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I think they can be really vital at is.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
love what Heupel's doing with Tennessee. I mean, Heupel has been a godsend. If anything, all Tennessee fans should write or should do a letter, a fruit basket, whatever you want to send to Oklahoma for deterring him from going to his alma mater the way they mistreated him. I mean, that was the greatest thing that could have happened to Tennessee. Danny White and Heupel coming from UCF up here.
Yeah,
Honestly, that could have been
great
the
thing ever.
greatest thing ever for Tennessee
yeah.
athletics for once.
What they done to the athletics program.
Yes. Yeah. The Lady Vols actually look good. I mean, they look like
They are.
I don't care who they playing. They scored 100 points and looked great doing it.
They played who they played they played
Oh,
Stanford
They
the
played
other night.
Stony Brook the other night or something, or Brook somebody like that. They played Carson
So-
Newman in the exhibition. So yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, they
I
destroyed that one team like 130 something points, but
let me say this.
I agree.
With
I do
that
agree.
Caldwell play, that tempo that Caldwell plays, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I was reading a thing today, like the way like the conditioning is like it was if you don't box out, you're pushing around a 45-pound plate up and down the court. You're sprinting 3 miles a day.
Wow.
Like it's go go go. Like
Yeah.
it like
Can I ask something, guys? Honestly, and you know me, I love me some Pat Summit. I love me some Pat Summit. That woman did so much for me in my broadcasting career that was as limited as it was, but she did a lot for me. And I would never badmouth her. But the thing was, they always talked about her practices, their level of conditioning, the fact they practiced against men. Did this not continue with her proteges that you mentioned, Shane, last week? Like, I mean, what the hell were they doing with Kelly Jolly and oh gosh, what was her name? Holly. I mean, what were they
uh
doing back then?
I think they expected. I think they might have tried to run it the same way. It might not have been the same, but I think that's what they getting away from the Pat umbrella and bringing outside somebody outside to
Hmm.
change. Like we're not gonna find another Pat. That's you're never gonna get that. Pat
No.
was one in a million,
Yeah.
and she demanded excellence, and you can't expect player or coaches have been under her and players have been under her to be the same person. And that's what we kept expecting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how Bama used to always want somebody from the Bear Bryant tree,
Hmm.
and you never got that. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. It
You
doesn't.
you're,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get the same out of somebody who just because they played for him or coached under him. You're not gonna get the same.
Yeah.
And I think it was. I don't know how. Actually, I really don't know how to explain it. Like when it came to the way those teams just didn't live up to expectations. I think we expected too much because they fell under Pat is what you expected. Everybody wanted to be the next Pat. You're not gonna get that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm
So
impressed with this. This lady is doing. I mean, I don't care who they played. We didn't look this good. We made exhibition games. We lost exhibition games the last couple years. I mean,
well,
so come on.
and
Yeah,
also
I love it.
with Holly, like she just came in after Pat. They're like she never ran a program.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just okay. Well, here you go. You're next. And then with Kelly, it was okay. You've coached, you've been at the level, but you didn't have the success you expect. Like I would have liked to seen Lawson come
I
in.
would have loved Carol Lawson.
Oh my
I
God!
would have loved this.
And
That
look how
that would have
good Duke
been
women are doing. Oh my God!
that
Yeah,
would have been different. That would have been something that would be completely different. But then it's like got to respect her for staying where she's at because you don't want to tarnish your legacy at your program
hmm,
by coming back. Like there's a reason why Peyton said he would never coach is because we love him here. And you bring it's like when we brought Fulmer back as the AD, and he brought in Pruitt. Like now we look at Fulmer differently because of all that stuff.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Well,
so you want to keep your legacy there
If
as it
Fulmer
is.
brought in people, it'd be a whole different story.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too. If you really want to even go a step further with what you just said, and that just kind of brought something out. Was it just the timing that Kara? I mean, Duke did something to get Kara out of the ESPN studio. I remember Kara was always in the studio with her great analysis when she wasn't playing WNBA or
Yep.
whatever.
And
You
she was
know,
she was coaching. Did she coach with the Celtics?
I think she coached some
No,
maybe she,
I thought she was a coach in the NBA. Like not like she was like an assistant. Like I want to
you
say
might
that.
be right. You might
Was
be
it,
right.
What was
Was it?
that?
was it Sacramento?
It might have
For
been.
some reason, I thought it was Boston. I could be wrong though.
Well,
We need to look that one up. We need to look that.
regardless of the fact, I mean, Duke jumped on her and she's done great over there and made them to where they were when they had Coach G a long time ago, Gail Gaston course or
Yeah.
whatever. But I'm just saying, like, what a missed opportunity, you know. But listen, I guess it had to play out the way it is. This girl is here, Kim, and I'm excited about her. I really
Well,
am. You know,
and like I
yeah.
said, I'm glad we went away from an in-home name. Like
Yes,
it's
get it
worked in
out of the
everything
family.
else.
Yeah,
It's worked in everything else so far.
yeah.
We have nobody that's running the program now has a Tennessee tie.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, Curry brought in Vitello. That's the best hire he made, and luckily he's been what we needed him to be. But
Yeah,
Danny White brought in Heupel. Heupel's doing his thing. Not a Tennessee guy. You
Did
got
Curry bring in Barnes? I assume Curry brought in Barnes, right? Back then, who brought him
oh
in?
Who brought in Barnes?
You said he was 15, right? When he started 2015.
yep.
So I don't know who the
Ooh
athletic
no,
director.
that would have been oh damn, what
Was
was
that
his
Hart?
name?
Was that Hart?
Oh yep. Oh Booger Eater Heart.
So some of these athletic directors brought in the guy, and then they're not even here to freaking enjoy him, is what we're saying here, pretty much. The only one that's here is Danny White
Well,
enjoying high
Hart
points.
to try to destroy the whole way the program was with the we're one. I guess it's one Tennessee, but when you try to get rid of the Lady Vols and the iconic uh
Oh
powder
yeah.
blue and everything, and just get rid of it, like no, like he was a businessman, but he didn't understand how to run an athletic department. I mean, he's one brought in Butch Jones, and we saw how
Oh
that went.
wow.
So
Wow, Mike. Wow, damn. Okay. Well, let me tell you this. I know it's early. College basketball's back. A lot of the teams played Monday and Tuesday. Anybody stand to you guys? I mean, they're kind of playing these smaller teams here next week. Get that Champions Classic we talked about, Kansas versus Michigan State, Duke versus Kentucky. There's some preseason tournaments coming up, but for the most part, anybody stand out to you that either good or bad so far?
I haven't had a
Um,
chance to really look yet.
Yeah, Lady Vols stood out to me. I mean, I'll talk women's or
Yeah,
men's, and so forth.
yeah. I know Barnes is at the Lakers game. I think in Cleveland tonight. I think maybe.
Watching Dalton, so yeah,
Yep. But he's courtside. Wherever LA is at tonight, Barnes is courtside.
sweet, sweet. So yeah.
early college basketball week thoughts. The women's game is, man, just thriving. Like
Paige
women,
Buchers,
Juju Watkins, like
Judy
the
Watkins.
women thriving. But like far as the men who I've been watching, I like what I saw from Chaz Lanier, but I didn't like what I saw from T defensively. You know, and I really think that the post players we gotta have an imposing post presence,
Yeah,
that's why I think we can go far, but Gainey off the bench is key to that second unit. They look good, but I like defensively they should look better.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. It's going to be a long season for NC State. All those fun guys they had last year for their magical little run to the Final Four are gone. They hung that banner, and they struggling against these small teams. It's going to be a long year, and it's almost funny that they saved his job, got him an extension, and they're going to have a bad year here. So NC State fans, be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? If you were going to part ways with him, he got you to the Final Four. You gave him an extension, but his job was to replace those dudes that left, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. I can tell you that much right now. So
And it's like, NC State, but they typically do that if they ever make runs like that, which the last time they were in the Final Four was 83.
yeah, yeah, with Valvano, yeah, that famous team. So yep, yep.
Like, how long ago 83 was?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
83,
We weren't even born yet. We were on our way or whatever like that. So yeah, but shoot,
84.
yeah, yeah.
That's tough.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, yeah. I mean, that the one thing I do obviously football's still king right now, but college basketball, like I said, I'm intrigued with it. Especially the tournament games during Thanksgiving and feast week and all that stuff. That's always fun. I'm sure we'll
Uh,
talk about that and everything. So, yeah. But yeah. But that's all I got, guys. I mean, great show. We went a little over than we normally do, but it's always fun when we're talking West Rebels, talking UT football, talking all the stuff that's going on. And like I said, it's a lot better than them dog days of summer when you got nothing to talk about. So that's true. Final thoughts, guys, though, before we call it a night and everything. And Friday night, for all the fans that are watching live or recorded, please hit that like and subscribe button. it generates the analytics. Thanks for supporting the show. We'll be back next week, talk about the West game, preview their next opponent. But more than anything, guys, just be good to one another. And again, like and hit subscribe to the show, and definitely hit up the chat box, whether live or recorded. So that's what I got.
All I gotta say is, boys, go out there and dominate Friday night. Go dominate.
I'm gonna hate looking at the recording of this one because like I'm like this and I'm like I'm telling you I'm like wore out from these games. I'm beat.
I bet. Real quick, not to cut you off too, Pair. Cuban Kane just wrote, final thoughts, Cuban and Italian Stallion battle soon. A Wits of Kane's football match that's going to be aired like Tyson versus Logan Paul type of thing. Like that's we'll have to do must-see TV on that one, so for sure.
So,
yeah.
So check this out. I'm supposed to play Cam Tatum tonight on our CAA. And shout out to Cam Tatum. Shout out to
Cam Tatum.
Podcast. Shout out to Skinny. Shout out to Pop. Shout out to Rav. Shout out to Maul. Shout out to everybody. So we're supposed to be playing. And during the show, I'm like, yeah, we should be done at like 11:15. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh man, it's not 11:15 anymore. I'm gonna tell them we gotta play this tomorrow. I'm so sorry, Cam. My bad, man. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. No. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
There we are. Yeah, no, and I apologize for that. And here's the thing: I want to give a shout out to everybody that participated: Steven Johnson, Cuban Kane, 332 Studios, anybody that watched live or recorded that participated in the chat box. Don't be shy. Bring those opinions on there. I'm not afraid to flash those messages up there. So.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. It was a really, really good show tonight. We had a lot to really talk about too. Shout out to Mississippi State. Tough loss tonight, but Friday and Saturday, they're 2-1 on the season right now. In the inaugural season.
That's awesome. Listen, you got to start somewhere, and I'm just happy for them. Honestly, it's an exciting time. I got to go catch a game for sure. So yeah. Well, boys, great show. Shout out to everybody. Wet Rebels, get it done on Friday night. You know how we end every show, baby, by throwing up that W.
Throw the dubs, man. Love, peace, and chicken grease. We will see you guys Friday.
7 o'clock, Marble City, Bill Wilson Field. Let's go, Rebels.
Go
3 in a row. 3 in a row. Make history, baby.
Fourth quarter.